Greetings, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here today for this great occasion. It is the Nurse Digital Transformation event as well as a care conference. We're having about 2 events collapse into one. And I promise you that it's going to be worth your time. We have people of repute present to participate in this event, and we are trusting that at the end of the day, our resolve will lead to the transformation that we desire. And as the person I'm going to introduce would normally say, that it's high time we moved from awareness to implementation, awareness to action. So we trust that we will not just come to listen, we will come ready to grab workable tools and information that would lead us into implementing the things that we have learned, the awareness that will come to us, just so that we are able to get the outcomes, the health care outcomes that we so desperately need in Nigeria and, of course, Africa. I'm going to call on the woman behind this great vision, one who has taken it upon herself to make her own contributions that will bring about a transformation in nursing profession in Nigeria and, of course, the world. Yes, because she's gone beyond Nigeria and she has been sharing her own gospel, and that's what I call it. When you put out a word, when you advocate for something, when you push for transformation, for change, it becomes a gospel because it's not a one-man's assignment. We need many people on board to make this dream a reality. You may have heard about MyCare Assistant. You may have heard about Nurse Digital Transformation. You may have heard about this name, Abiola Ayilara. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome the founder CEO of MyCare Assistant to give us an introductory speech. Please put your hands together and welcome Mrs. Abiola Ayilara.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us live and being here physically today. We are indeed pleased to welcome those who have also been with us in the past year, as well as those who are new to the Nursing Informatics community. Coincidentally, today also marks the maiden edition of the MyCare Assistant Annual Summit, a meeting of thought leaders to discuss care improvement strategies and care support solutions for the vulnerable people in our society. We are proud to be able to host you in a hybrid fashion today, and it feels so wonderful to see you all. Before we get started, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who have generously helped string this event together to become a success. A big thank you to our volunteers and our sponsors. For this session, I would like to state that care improvement begins with transformational change at all levels of the healthcare value chain. Primarily, nurses are the custodians of patients' data, And for nurses to thrive in an era of digitalization, we must begin to solve healthcare problems through outcome measures stemming from the diversification of a biomedical approach to healthcare being transformed to value-based health outcomes with nursing development in healthcare technological reforms. Siebel described a call to action that no discussion of digital transformation would be complete without an account of digital transformation and global security. I respond to this by saying, no discussion of nurse digital transformation is complete without practical education, the provision of digital work tools targeted at specific societal needs for healthcare professional improvement, implementation of data structure, and management in patient health outcomes, as well as professional growth of care workers. Digital transformation is a phoenix for driving digital technology and its application to every aspect of our healthcare system. Intentional utilization of constructive research findings will aid the development of the nursing profession and will help it move from a dearth awareness stage of information management systems to the provision of action-oriented solutions through improvement of nursing education and nursing practice. In essence, one of the ways to improve the nursing education and practice system is to transition formatively from inquiry to evidence-based knowledge sharing and practical implementations. To achieve a nurse digital transformation is to build bridges, share knowledge across cultures on a global scale, and empower people who are passionate about promoting healthcare technological transformation in our society. I believe that as you're here today, you'll be able to gain some, useful insight into healthcare technological reforms, how it impacts our healthcare system, how it helps nurses to develop, and how it actually helps us to have, a quality population and global outcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sabiola, for that great introductory speech. So what I will be doing right about now is to read the profiles of our keynote speakers. But before then, I would like to just take us through what we have scheduled for today. So we're going to have about 5 keynote speakers. Some of them will be joining us because this is a hybrid event, by the way. So we have some of them physically, then we'll have some of them give their speeches on video. We are going to have Mrs. Dorcas Shonibare. We have Professor Paula Proctor. We have Olua Damilare Akingbade. We have Fawale Israel, Toria Shore, and Gria Balo. We have Chisom Mbana. We have, of course, there's going to be time for pictures and networking. There is no event without networking, and I'm sure you are ready for that. So this first part is the Nurse Digital Transformation event. Then after that, we will be having the CARE conference. And during the CARE conference, we're going to have some other speakers as well. And then there'll be a session for questions and answer. And very importantly, there'll be a client story. And then the caregiver's story as well. It is a power-packed event, and I want us to sit tight and be a part of the entire process. As you are here, please do not let any form of distraction whatsoever. Don't think about either the meal you didn't prepare, the market you didn't go to, something you didn't do. Somehow those thoughts come and they occupy our mind. You've made out time to be here. You've made the sacrifices. You've paid the tea fare. You're here today. Let's be here and now and be a part of the entire event. So allow me at this point to read out the profiles of all of the speakers. And in no particular order, as they are ready, we will allow them to give their speeches. Mrs. Kemi Ogunyemi. She is a commissioner at the Lagos State Health Service Commission, tasked with the recruitment and training of all health personnel in 27 Lagos State General Hospitals. She is the founder and managing director of Alpha Healthcare Initiative, an NGO dedicated to the promotion of quality healthcare for underprivileged women and children. A cancer nurse specialist with over 25 years experience, she holds a master's degree in healthcare administration and a master's degree in nursing from the University of Phoenix, USA. Professionally registered in both the US and the UK, Kemi Ogunyemi has been at the forefront of cancer care and the promotion of healthcare services in the US, the UK, and Nigeria. She has been featured in newspaper articles as well as in the television media. A nurse consultant for Marcel Roots Cancer Center and Specialist Hospital, a world-class one-stop cancer care center in Lagos, Nigeria. Kemi Ogunyemi is also a public speaker and has been invited to conferences and events to enlighten and create awareness in the promotion of the well woman. As a trainer, Kemi Ogunyemi has successfully implemented the training of all employees in the secondary health facilities in Lagos State in customer service and attitudinal change. Dr. Greer Ballo. Dr. Greer Ballo is an accomplished nurse manager, registered midwife, and clinical informatician from the UK with a 30-year association with Johns Hopkins Aramco Healthcare in Saudi Arabia. Currently serving as Director of Clinical Information Management, Greer's previous roles within the organization have included Manager of Mother and Baby Unit, Director of Perioperative Nursing, and Senior Director of Medical Surgical Nursing. Greer is a highly proficient leader in healthcare informatics, recognized through her acceptance as a distinguished fellow of Healthcare Information Management Systems Society, and serving on its technology informatics guiding education reform. The international task force directly impacting changes in this field throughout the world. She is a driving force for clinical technology innovations at JAR, championing its internationally lauded implementation of the EPIC electronic health record, which archived HIMSS stage 6 accreditation within a few weeks of its go live. One of the first organizations in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia include Doctor of Nursing Practice degree from Johns Hopkins University, a Master of Science in Healthcare Informatics from Royal College of Surgeons, Edinburgh, Oluwadamilare Akingbade. Oluwadamilare is a dynamic community health nursing specialist, passionate about impacting families and communities through research while building the capacity of nurses in scholarly endeavors. He graduated from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso in 2011, where he was certified as a nurse, midwife, and public health nurse. He proceeded to the University of Ibadan, where he bagged a master's degree in community health nursing in 2017. He is currently running a fully funded PhD nursing program at the Nethasol School of Nursing University, Chinese University, Hong Kong. A nurse clinician, Damilare practiced at different clinical facilities from 2012 to 2017. A nurse administrator, he was seconded to the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria by the Lagos State government in November 2017. He contributed his quota to upholding nursing education and practice standards in Nigeria until July 2020 before proceeding on his PhD program. A lover of research, Damilare and other like-minded nurse researchers at Fellowship of Christian Nurses founded the Institute of Nursing Research Nigeria, a non-governmental organization passionate about building nurses' capacity in research and disseminating findings. He currently serves as a chief executive officer of the Institute and a resource person at the Institute's Journal Club. A writer to the core, he has several publications in peer-reviewed journals to his credit. His research interest includes telehealth, oncology, infectious diseases, maternal and child health. Damilare is highly committed to mentoring and inspiring nurses, a role he has played for over a decade from his days as a leader at Fellowship of Christian Nurses, Southwest Zone, Nigeria, and his current role as the project manager at Focusing for Young Nurses Initiative and a lecturer at Department of Nursing, Chrisland University, Nigeria. An award-winning nurse, Damilare was named one of the top 10 most inspiring male nurses in Nigeria in 2017 by Fellow Nurses Africa. He has won the Best Presentation Awards at many conferences. A nurse leader, Damilare recently graduated from the Global Nursing Leader Institute, a strategic policy leadership program organized by the International Council of Nurses for the senior leaders worldwide. He received an award to be part of the 2021 cohort from August 2021 to June 2022. So I go on to read that of Honorable Israel Fowley. Trained as a registered nurse, highly interested in practice as health and nursing informatics specialist, utilizing new trends of care and technologies to boost preventive, curative, promotive, and rehabilitative healthcare drives to achieve holistic care objectives. He is committed to working closely with patients, families, and other professionals for well-rounded care. He graduated from the prestigious Faculty of Nursing, College of Health Sciences, Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomosho. Israel served as the national president for the Nigerian Universities Nursing Students Association 2019 to 2020. He was the speaker, Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, College of Health Sciences, Lautech from 2015 to 2017. He served as National Vice President, Editorial, Union of Campus Journalists 2013 to 2015. He doubled also as the Pioneer Vice President, Secretarial, Scienceral, National Association of Nigerian Campus Editors from 2014 to 2015. He was Vice Chairman, Institute of Electrical Electronic Engineering, Lautech. He served as Director of Trainee and Director of Volunteer Corps 2013, 2014, and 2015 for the All Nigeria United Nations Students Association. He currently serves as the editor-in-chief of the Africa Novice Nurses and Student Initiatives, a scientific bulletin, and the liaison officer of the Institute of Nursing Research Nigeria. He is a member of the International Society of Telemedicine and E-Health, In 2021, he was inducted with honor into the Sigma Theta Tau International at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Alpha Alpha Upsilon chapter. Fawole is a healthcare journalist. His interest in journalism stems from the university days as an award-winning campus journalist. He is highly resourceful with a track record of facilitating research training, empowerment for over 3,000 nurses in Nigeria through NUNSA and the Institute of Nursing Research, via the creation of the INR Journal Club in colleges and universities in Nigeria. He is skilled with data science and data analytics using SPSS, R, and SQL, Power BI, and Python, and also has a good insight into machine learning, machine modeling, and embedded systems with experiences gathered from multiple innovation projects. I thought at this point in time we would actually applaud Mr. Fawole Israel. He has about 17 publications to his credit. Fawole in 2021 was appointed as a member of the Oyo State Youth Parliament with the approval of the Oyo State Governor, and that is a feat, Engineer Oluseyi Makinde, and he became the Speaker of the Oyo State Youth Parliament, Nigeria, in February 2022. A round of applause for all the profiles read so far. Professor Paula Proctor. Her professional background is that of nursing since 1979. She has been involved with the use of information and communications technology to support healthcare practice. She implemented Exeter nursing systems 1979 to 1981. How many of us were born at the time? She was involved in administration, head of information, Sheffield and North Trent College of Nursing and Midwifery in 1991 to 1995, and education, director of England Computer Assisted Learning Project in 1988 to 1991. Director Computers in Teaching Initiative, the First Center for Nursing in 1995 to 2000. If asked, she would say that she was an informatics futurist. Her research and publications confirm an innovative approach to her work. In recognition of her local and national and international work, she has been promoted to professor in August 2018 and emeritus professor in August 2021. Her recent work has centered around digital capabilities workforce development for nurses and midwives. This work has been included being the international advisor for the Australian Digital Capabilities Framework for nurses and midwives, membership of the Chief Nursing Information Officer, NHSX Education Advisory Panel, and co-chair of the International Medical Informatics Association, IMIA, Nursing Informatics Education Working Group. Working with the Department of Computing, Sheffield Hallam University, she helped to prepare the successful proposal to the Office of Students in support for funding in MSc in healthcare analytics and artificial intelligence, which is particularly directed toward developing health and social care workers, both past and present, to be the frontline leaders as we advance further into the digital world across care domains. In 2009, she developed an online course for undergraduate nursing and midwifery students in digital health so as to aid their knowledge and understanding of the data-driven workplace in which they would be employed. The course continues today and includes all allied health professionals, amounting to some 2,500 students with 24/7 access to content. Her research has been concentrated upon knowledge development and beneficial use of technology. An example of the former is the award of a project with a local trust to explore workforce digital capabilities at all levels of the organization through a nursing prism. And for the latter, the use of robot avatars to enable severely disabled individuals to be part of a workforce. She circulates ideas through her publications, conference presentations, and by listening to others. She holds the position of Honorary Fellow of IMIA-NI. She is a Senior Fellow of the Higher Education Academy and Chartered Fellow of the British Computer Society. Ladies and gentlemen, the profile of the professor I just read is ready for presentation. So I would encourage us to get our pen and our papers ready and our ears, of course. This is someone that pays attention to people. So I think it's about time that we listen to her. Put your hands together, once again, distinguished guests, as we listen to Professor Paula. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak at this interesting conference. I hope you find my talk useful, and I'm very happy to answer any questions at the end of it. My name is Paula Proctor. I'm Emeritus Professor of Nursing Informatics at Sheffield Hallam University. I'm going to share my screen and go through this talk, and I hope, I say, that you find it of interest. I've titled this talk, Using Data Analytics to Better Understand the Community Health Need. And because I'm a background as a nurse, I've taken a nursing perspective for this. And in essence, what we will explore is the ways in which digital developments can help health and social care providers better understand the community served and highlight the role nurses can and will play in an ever-increasing digital society to support compassionate patient care in a complex and challenging environment. I'd like to start with a short piece from T.S. Eliot's The Rock, where he says, "Where is the life we have lost in living? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? And where is the knowledge we have lost in information?" And I hope that during this talk, the points made in this brief 3 lines will make you sit up and think and maybe have some challenges to you. I come from Yorkshire, so I thought I'd share with you some images from Yorkshire. And this is a viaduct, a train runs over this viaduct regularly. But the reason for showing this is to sort of think about how everybody today with access to information through their phone can be an expert in their own health issues. And how do we help people who have heard about things through the television, through their friends, through social media, through the news and through conversations? How do we help them fathom the correct information? Here we have a little village, the very steep hill, and this question asks us, what is information in the context of today's session? And I think we fool ourselves if we think that health and social care information is confined to fixed electronic health records. Let's not be constrained in our thinking. Let's think a lot wider than this narrow street suggests. And here we have an abbey that was built in 1133, so 32, many years ago. And I show this because I want us to think about widening our information horizon and accept that individuals accessing healthcare do so, in the most cases, as a very small part of their life. And for us, it is a very large part of our lives, but we need to understand where the patients and the population is coming from. And here we have the Bronte parsonage, where the Bronte sisters did their writing. And so I'm using this to suggest that we need to learn about our community and their social determinants, who they are, so that we can turn around illness services into true health services. And this is a lovely view of Yorkshire, because having such lofty ambitions of turning things from an illness centre to a health centre, it has many serious organisational, professional and indeed economic implications. And we as nurses need to recognise those. And here is my home city, Sheffield. And I'm saying this because Sheffield has regenerated following the decline of heavy industry. And it's now a great success because it's moved around using data tools. It's developed a fourth industrial revolution and moved towards Society 5.0. And it understands the community it serves. And so it's leading to collaborative ventures in digital health and social care. I believe there are 4 Ds, and those are: digitisation within society has brought about distribution across time and communities, which in turn has caused disruption to the normal systems and structures, and this has resulted in diversity of actions. And I'm just going to go through a couple of these. I'm going to use disruption and later diversity. So what's disrupted? Well, we now have 24/7 access to information. As an educator, I do sometimes wonder why we ask people to remember things when they can just Google it. We have a series of items that are likes, and people get very upset and stressed and anxious if they don't receive sufficient likes. We know about information harvesting. Indeed, your shopping activity through the internet is probably a better indicator of you than anything else you have. We know we've changed the way we shop, we've changed the way we bank, we've changed the way we communicate, and we've changed the way we watch television, for an example. So why have we not changed healthcare? Why do we believe it's still based in the traditional silos that have continued for many years? We know that they're developing the Internet of Things, smart technologies. We know about self-parking cars. We know about nanotechnologies, personalized medicine, DNA prescribing, 3D printing, and surgical robots. And even today, there is a nurse robot on sale. And here is the nurse robot. It basically does vital signs and carries water. Now, that's somebody's view of what nurses do. As a nurse, I don't believe that's all that we do. And maybe we need to step up and tell people more about what we do, who we are, and how we can be supported by technology to deliver compassionate care. We know the smart technologies that are around us now in everyday life. We cannot move without having something transmitted of information about where we are, about what we're doing, who we're talking to, how we're driving our car, how our house is working. It's everywhere, and it will increase considerably, and it will disrupt everything that we do. We know about virtual assistants and the growth of those in helping people use their lifetime better, and also to help instruct in telling people of maybe who have more forgetful times, like me at the moment, to take their medications. And where is health and social care in how we use virtual assistants? How do we use robotics in care? And I don't know whether you use any yourselves, but some are better than others, and it is still early days. But some can be helpful, like the picture with the lady with the seal on the bottom left. Here we have something that's a robot, but it blinks its eyes, it makes lovely noises, and it does tend to calm people down who get very anxious, who get very stressed, particularly those suffering with some form of dementia. It does seem to calm them down, to stroke something that's not going to bite them, that's not going to run off or anything else. It is a robot that's designed to sit there and be very pleasant. We know about radio frequency identification devices. Where are those in our nursing remit? In the middle of the picture there, you can see somebody's neck with a little smear on it. And that smear is actually a tag that's sending signals to a device that's measuring somebody's heart rate, blood pressure constantly. So at night time, if somebody's in hospital or if they're at home using a virtual ward or virtual monitoring, then you don't need to wake them up to see how their blood pressure is doing. Many other examples, and you can look at some of these in your own time elsewhere. Nanotechnologies are developing. These are very, very, very small things, and they are going to grow in the development. Where are we as nurses in trying to help some of these developments? Because if we can think of nanotechnologies as a solution to some of the issues that people have in their own homes, then maybe we can find help for them that means they don't have to attend hospitals. Genomics, we don't know, again, huge investments going on in this at the moment, with the idea of DNA mapping so that we hospitals, or we can predict who might be coming into hospitals for certain treatments. Genomics is a new science, and I think over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a massive explosion in that. But again, where is the nursing in this area? Where are we advising how to help patients in a compassionate way if they have information that their DNA means there may be trouble ahead? So it's caused the disruption, but that disruption is actually a positive in many cases, and it resulted in a diversity of actions. We know that the world has changed due to the COVID pandemic, but technology is going to change it even further. And this is where we need to be at the forefront of many of these developments. One of the things that's talked about a lot, particularly when we look at collecting data, and we collect it, as I've suggested, through these smart technologies, through day-to-day living, is if we collect big data, and this is massive amounts of data that are collected passively from digital interactions that are many different types and much, much information. But the key here is that it is collected passively from digital interactions, from using your phone, from using your computer, from using your tablet, from having conversations through WhatsApp or whatever. So we're collecting all this data all the time. And that requires of us to look at a thing called artificial intelligence, to analyze that data. And again, where are we as nurses helping to analyze this data? There's 3 types of artificial intelligence. I don't want you to go away and think, oh dear, you know, we're going to be taken over by something that's more intelligent than us. No, we're nowhere near that. We're way down the list at the level of artificial narrow intelligence, which is basically algorithms. And so we're in total control at the moment. Whether we deal with the answers appropriately or not is really up to us. But it is algorithmic in the way that we do things. And algorithms can be good and algorithms can be bad. But don't panic, we're not going to suddenly have intelligence beyond us. We're gaining all this information from items such as wearables, and I'm sure you can probably add to this list. This information is being collected all the time. What do we do with it? Are we involved in it? How can we use this to help us with an obesity issue or a diabetes issue or something else? We've got the Internet of Things. Cars are giving off signals all the time of all sorts of. My car apparently has got about 3 or 4 computer systems in it, or more. And it does things that I don't really know that I'm not in control totally anymore. My washing machine, because I've just moved house, but my washing machine now, you can do it through Wi-Fi. I mean, sure, anyway, but that's collecting data. What are we doing looking at our communities and seeing what data is being collected? We know there's a lot of use of robotics. We know they've got robotic surgery now where you don't need anybody present other than the robot to do the procedure, particularly keyhole surgery. And on the bottom right, there's a young man here who can't go to school because he's heavily immunosuppressed, but his robot goes to school for him, and his friends wave to his robot and interact with him, even though it's in a virtual way. There's a new thing developing now, which is called robot avatars, which is where people who are so severely disabled can become a member of the workforce. And they find that so much more rewarding rather than just thinking their life is wasting away. So where are we as nurses getting involved in these sorts of areas of excitement and movement of people towards a better outcome? So maybe rather than looking at the things we looked at before as disruptions, it's to look at them as opportunities. So this list is an opportunity. I can shop now at any time I want to get anything I want. Is that good? How does that make me feel? What health implications has that got? My access to 24/7 access to information, what health implications has that got? And should I be able to do that? And should we as nurses be guiding people to good sites where we think the information is correct? Do we want people to be able to have personalized medicine, DNA prescribing? We know certainly that many people with mental health issues, and particularly depression, we try all sorts of drugs to see which is best, and it can take up to 2 years to get the right medication to the right person. But with personalized medicine, DNA prescribing, we can do it first time because we know exactly what they will react to. Where we're trying to move to, we're going from the past to the future. And so we're trying to go from sick care to health care, and we can do that by amassing and understanding the information that our communities are delivering. And instead of doing little episodes where they have a sudden need for healthcare, or it's a long-term issue, we should look at continuous healthcare, a healthcare loop that lasts from birth to death. And we can do that with information. Maybe we don't need that many physical environments in which to treat people. Maybe we can do more in a virtual world, not immediately. It's going to take a few years for this to settle in. But nowadays, people understand the ability to speak on the phone and to see somebody on the phone. And maybe we need to take that just a little bit further. We need to understand that no longer does one size fit all. We need to personalize our care. And we can only do that by retrieving and analyzing information. We need to change from a straight provider of care to realize there's all sorts of people who can offer care out there. But how are we regulating that? How are we thinking about these crowds of people who might turn up? And rather than just deal with humans and our history and what we know, can we tie in artificial intelligence and make healthcare enhanced by it rather than fearful of it? And rather than a fee for service, because we know healthcare is a huge cost to any nation and any community, maybe we should look better at a fee for outcome. So what do we achieve in the delivery of our care? And do we achieve that for the benefit of our community? Or have we some other benefit in mind that we want to try? So going back to the T.S. Eliot quote, I'd like to just say, here is the life we have found in living. Here is the wisdom we have found in knowledge. And with your help and nursing at the forefront, here is the knowledge we have found in information. So that's my talk. Very happy to answer any questions, but thank you very much. And I look forward to talking with you again at some point. Thank you.
I want to at this point ask a question. How many of us are nurses here? Okay, let's do it like we're proud we are. How many of us are? Lord have mercy. Okay, great. Now let's be honest. This is a moment of truth. How many of us, while listening to Professor Proctor, thought to ourselves as nurses that this is a long journey? This tech thing you're talking about. How many of us? Let's say the truth. You feel like this is going to be a tough one for me. You feel that. So here's the good news. I know that Viola would say it, that it's not a dungeon. You're not going into a bottomless pit. This is something that humans created. Am I right? Humans created it. So if the human brain could bring about this, then it means the human brain can actually operate it, can work with it. So it's not for us to be afraid, because whether or not we are ready as Nigerian nurses, tech will happen. It is happening already. So she has told us that you don't need to be afraid, because they said once there's a Moses, you find the Israelites. So there's a Moses here when it comes to digital nursing. So you are in the right place, you are with the right person, and we will get the knowledge that we need in order to transform. There was a particular thing that Professor said, that when we are mentioning all of these transformations, all these innovations, where is nursing in it? We're talking genomics. Where are nurses in it? I'm glad you're here today, but please, just continue. When you hear of conferences, you hear of programs, don't wait till it's a nurse that's leading it. Do not wait till you have a nursing speaker there. Who will tell them what our responsibilities are? She said something profound that I had to note down. Last year, I was involved in a conference, roundtable discussion, stakeholders discussion at the regional level. I was there to represent the nurses. When they were listing out the responsibilities of nurses, this is what they wrote on the board. Vital signs in bracket. No, they didn't write nurses or nursing, then brackets the services or procedures. What they put there was vital signs, then in bracket nursing. I had to put on all the gadget that I had to tell them that nurses do more than vital signs. We do way more than vital signs. It's a challenge also in homes when you send nurses or you want to deploy services to homes and clients are paying. They'll say, is it not vital signs? Is it not to monitor blood pressure? They are wondering what they are paying this huge money for. We are the one to tell them. If you do not tell them, gone are those days where they say, do not blow your trumpet. These days, if you don't blow it, nobody will hear you. Nobody will do it for you. So we're moving from awareness to implementation. We're moving from awareness to action. If you don't do it, nobody will. And please don't say, thank God you are in our life. Thank God for Abiola. If she does it alone, she's going to disappear before her time. The work is too much for one person to do. We need everyone on board to make this happen. So another round of applause, please, for Professor Proctor. Thank you. So we're going right to the second presenter. He's also is ready. He is someone that I know and respect so much in nursing. He's going to be taking us on implementing technology-based research evidence in nursing education and practice in Nigeria. Implementing technology-based research evidence in nursing education and practice in Nigeria. To deliver that will be Oluwadamilare Akingbade. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Officer of the Institute of Nursing Research, Nigeria. I double as a PhD candidate at the National School of Nursing, the Chinese University of Hong Kong. I want to appreciate Nurse Ayala Rabiola, the convener, for giving me this opportunity. Today, I'm presenting on implementing technology-based research evidence in nursing education and practice in Nigeria. This is my table of contents. Introduction. If any profession will advance and grow, scholarly activities must take place. Research is not new to nursing. Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing, was, among many other things, a writer and researcher. Technology devices such as smartphones have become the first and the last thing that human beings interact with on a daily basis, and I know you can attest to that. And advances in technology are becoming more prominent by the day. During the pandemic, that is the COVID-19 pandemic, uptake of healthcare services was adversely affected. We found that out from a study we conducted around that time. And teleconsultation increased during the pandemic as face-to-face interaction was limited. And this is I think the COVID-19 pandemic really opened us up a lot to accessing and receiving mobile or digital health interventions. And not only in healthcare, also in education. You know, many of the activities, students started receiving lectures online. It affected me too. That was when I started my PhD program. Though I got to Hong Kong in the midst of the pandemic, but then we couldn't have face-to-face classes until many months later. Everything was really online. Let's quickly look at technologies in nursing. In this section, I'll be showing on some of the technologies. Many of them we are actually familiar with. Some of them we've had before, but I won't really concentrate on them. I just want to use it to form a foundation for our discussion. So we've heard of robotics in healthcare that is used in surgery, in medication dispensing, sterilizing, and a lot of things like that. And also electronic medical records, sensors, monitors, virtual reality, and a host of others. And also in nursing education, this is a digital library. Yes, everything is going digital, and the library has also gone digital. And the question we should ask ourselves is how many institutions in Nigeria, as far as nursing profession is concerned, are having the state-of-the-art digital library? We need this to do good research. We need this to do very, very good research. This is our laboratory. This is where we work, right? A lot of research is done online. We need to gather the evidence and do a lot of things like that. Without a good e-library, how are we going to do this? And of course, we have this simulation laboratory, and this is changing dynamics in nursing education, whereby we can simulate different health conditions, and make the device look like that, so that our nursing students can be taught how to handle such situations. I've heard of one that can even mimic PPH, postpartum hemorrhage, and all the interventions that the nursing students or the midwives are going to do around that. Okay, moving on. Also in nursing education and research, and I find this very, very interesting. We have a lot of devices, tools that are used in research, SPSS, NVivo. We conducted a study some months back, and in this study, we are interested in looking at the perceived competence and training needs of Nigerian nursing students in the use of ICT tools for nursing education and research. And we found that not many of our students are aware of some of these devices. Not many of our students even know how have built competence, are confident in using some of these devices. And how can they be competent in using them when they are not available? So We need a lot of advocacy. We need a lot of funding as far as nursing education is concerned to see how we can have all these devices, all these tools at the disposal of our nursing students, and of course our lecturers, to our scholars. They need all this equipment to do very good research. So let's look into technology-based research evidence. So in this section, I'll be sharing with you how I was able to gather my evidence in my PhD program. And I know some of you might be interested in also doing one study or the other. You want to do some technological-based research. And with this information I'll be giving you, you might be able to think through how to go about yours. In God we trust, all others bring data. If funders will trust us, if governments will trust us, if people that are in charge of policymakers will trust us, they want evidence, they want data. So we must bring data. Tell somebody beside you, bring data. Okay, so where is the evidence? Where is the evidence? Yeah, in 2020, I told you about my research that I conducted, now my PhD program. I found this important study that showed that mHealth has been suggested, that is mobile health, has been suggested as a means to provide support for oncology patients in Nigeria during the pandemic. But evidence to support this is lacking. Wow, so that was the basis of my study. And now look, okay, let's go and search for the evidence, right? Along the line, I found that chemotherapy is common among women receiving treatments for breast cancer, and there are a lot of psychological issues that are experienced by these women while receiving chemotherapy. So I decided, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What is the evidence that we have to support these women as far as these issues are concerned? So that led me to a systematic review. And in this review, we searched 14 databases and we were able to gather evidence as far as the usage of mHealth interventions is concerned in this population. And what did we find? A summary. Most of the interveners in this review were nurses. That was interesting. So I said, wow, they are nurses, so I can also do something like that. I can design a nurse-led mHealth intervention. And we also found that the intervention addressed various psychological issues among this population. However, none of these studies was conducted in Africa. So that led me to go further. We went further to assess the feasibility and usefulness of these interventions. It's very important for us to know that you cannot just dump interventions for the patient, start using it. You want to ask them, do they even have funds at all to start with? Will they use the interventions? Because these interventions are very expensive, very expensive to design. So you don't want to spend a lot of money, and eventually the intervention is going to waste. I'm a community health nurse, and one of the tenets in our profession is that before we deliver an intervention, before we give an intervention, we first start from the community to ask them what are their needs and to be able to key our intervention into their needs. So we found that Nigerian women with breast cancer concluded that mHealth interventions could be feasible, and they also gave us some suggestions on the things they want to see in our intervention about diet, about exercise, and how to cope with the side effects. So we designed the breast cancer application, which has 4 major components: breast cancer education, discussion forum whereby they can interact together, and coping skills training, how to cope with the side effects, and lastly, nurse-led consultation. And all this we have found from the evidence we gathered in our systematic review. Let's now go into how to now implement these interventions. We have seen how to gather them. Now, how do we implement them? The first thing we should note is that EBP is central to implementing research evidence. So what is EBP? It's an approach that utilizes the most current research available, most current, not obsolete, research available in order to improve the health and safety of patients by reducing overall cost and variation in health outcomes. So we have EBP at the center, and we have clinical experience, patients' values, best scientific evidence, and all this culminates in evidence-based practice. And what are the steps in EBP? There are 6 steps that are important for us to ask. If you want to receive, you need to do what? You need to ask. So you need to question the question, like my mentor would say. She would say, question the question. You need to check what's wrong with what we are doing. Don't just want to continue doing like that. We have always done like that. This wound is not healing. We just continue. We just continue. Continue management. No, let's question the question. We want to now acquire. Search for relevant evidence. We want to search for relevant evidence to answer our question. That is from literature review, right? And then we now want to go into appraising the evidence that we have. Is it high quality? Is it valuable? And this can be done when we have insights into how to conduct research. Appraising evidence is another aspect in research. And of course, applying. We now need to make clinical decisions based on the evidence that we have gathered. And then we now have evaluating. After we implemented, of course, nursing process, we need to evaluate. And after we evaluate, we need to now share what we have found with our different colleagues. So let me talk briefly about an intervention that we brought on board when we discovered that nurses in Nigeria really need to take research more seriously. By the way, this started in May 2016 by a body called Fellowship of Christian Nurses. At that time, I was running my master's program, and we discovered that many nurses are finding research very, very challenging, and I was finding challenging too. So, and I noticed that if we don't take this serious, many nursing students will get stuck. They will be stuck, right? They'll be stuck when they are doing their master's program or their PhD. So what did we do? We formed this institute, and this institute has been able to help nurses. I've been able to help nurses, train nurses, conducted workshops. We have a journal club where we systematically train nurses on how to conduct good research. Our members have published their studies. Some of the studies I shared earlier on, some of our members are part of the studies, and somehow a lot is being done, really. A lot is being done, and we are contributing to the evidence that we have. And that has a campaign against rape that we did in Ekiti State. And also we had a conference last year where we had Howard Carton, CEO, ICN, and a host of other global nursing leaders. Also a nurse and vice chancellor graced that occasion. Now, another that is very important for us to know when implementing research evidence is that we need research units in our hospitals. By the way, I conducted a study recently. I appreciate the DNS Shonibare for our real support for this study. This study was conducted when I was having my projects as a member of GNLI. GNLI is the Global Nursing Leadership Institute of the International Council of Nurses. I got a scholarship to be part of the 29 scholars that were taken from all over the world, 5 from Africa. And in this, my project, I was interested in understanding the research needs and research capacity of nurses in Lagos State, Nigeria. And one of the conclusions from this study is that we need research units in our hospitals. Well, some people might argue that we have education units, continuing education units. Sir, this is different from research. Continuing education is not research, and we should not mix it. We should not confuse it. We need a unit that will be we need people that will be solely involved in research. And one of the things we found from that study is a mixed method study, the qualitative part. One of the things that one of the senior leaders said in nursing is that we are in crisis. Research is the last thing on our minds. We are in crisis. We need the intervention of the government. People are traveling out, leaving the country. We are short-staffed. Research is the last thing we want to do. And how are we going to implement evidence if all these things are not put in place? So a lot of interventions need to come on board if we will be able to implement research evidence. So we need the research units and we need the research nurses. We also concluded on that we don't just want nurses that will be on the ward. I know how stressful it can be to work on the bedside in Lagos State. I did that. I know what it can be. So many people are not even thinking research. They just want to go home and just go and rest and and relax with their families. I'm not talking about research. We need offices that will be equipped with the instruments that we saw. There will be a computer for them. There will be internet, and let's see if they will not deliver. do it for 1 year and let's see if they will not deliver. Our nurses can deliver. We need to train them. In this research that we did, we were able to gather the research needs. They have told us the needs that they have. I'll be very happy to support, to train them in those areas and to help in establishing research units. And by the way, we had a training also at National Hospital Abuja for nurses over there. We were able to also train them and see the need for establishing research units in our hospitals. Yes, we need to fund technology-based research and interventions in Nigeria. I appreciate Nurse Ayla Rabiola for the great work she's doing. I learned in the last conference she was able to give scholarship to nurses that are ready to take a dive into digital health. And this is really laudable and this is applaudable. We need more nurses to key into this. We need more funding into this. And she's going to agree with me that research into digital health and interventions generally around this area are very expensive. They are really expensive, you know. And I also got a funding from the Oncology Nursing Foundation, and this funding was able to support me in conducting my research. I'm now at the randomized control trial stage, and I'm moving ahead. So where do I start from? I'm rounding off, looking at my time. Where do I start from? I know many of us are here. We are asking ourselves, okay, you have said this, how do I dive into it? Okay, the first thing, identify the gaps in your chosen field and get them filled. Right? And maybe the first thing before identifying the gap is to first know the area you want to key into. Nurse Ayla Rabiola has found a niche for herself in nursing informatics. Nurse Julie Mobat has found a need for herself in family bond nursing. What about you? Ask somebody beside you, what about you? What niche have you found for yourself? Yes, we need to do this. We need to find a niche, find an area. I have found research. And currently my research is straddle the intersection between community health nursing and psychology, you know, and oncology, connecting these things together. These are the gaps I found. Which gaps have you found also in that area you want to specialize in, or in that area you want to focus on? And one interesting thing is this: in Africa, there are a lot of grants yet to be explored. Tell somebody beside you, the fields are waiting for you to explore there. They are waiting for you. And what are you waiting for? We need to go out to explore these areas. I say this because I've been exposed to research, exposed to innovations, exposed to interventions. I do systematic reviews. And when you are reviewing all these things, you see a lot of studies in China, a lot. I mean, a lot from China, a lot. I mean, then I begin to ask myself, where is Africa in all this? Where is Africa in all this? We need the West, or the West is also trying, of course. A lot of work has been done also, but in Africa, there is still paucity of evidence on many areas, and we need to go ahead to explore these fields. Find a mentor. I found mine, Professor Priska Olabisi Adejimo. She has been really instrumental in lifting me, pulling me to the next level, and also then as that has shown in Pare. Also, you need to find your mentor. They will really be helpful in navigating all these areas. Network. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. From the research I conducted, you can see the power of collaboration. I brought a computer scientist, I brought a clinical psychologist, I'm a nurse, we have a nursing professor, we have nurses working in the oncology unit in Lagos State University Hospital and LUT, and we have this that we have brought together. And here we are today. The research is almost completed. Network. Tell somebody beside you, network. In conclusion, if you can, if you don't, you will not start. If you start without believing you can, you will soon stop. These are my references. Thank you very much for listening. I welcome questions. Let's discuss. Thank you.
I'm sure we actually can do better than that. So many profound words from Oluwadamilare Akingbade, someone that I have much respect for. And it's actually such an honor for him to make mention of me and my work in his presentation. We actually do the work together. He said something that in God we trust, all others bring data. And if there's anything that nurses have and can take control of, is data. How many patients do you encounter on a daily basis? How many medicines have you administered? How many reactions have you seen? Have you witnessed? How many emergencies have you attended? How many cases have you seen in the course of your work? How many have you made comparison of from when you were a student, when you were in different environments, working in a public setting, in a private setting, across board? We have data. If there's anything that has been our undoing as a people, and especially as a profession, is the mediocre approach to precision. And I'm going to break it down. So when I say precision, I'm talking about being precise. Let's take, for instance, somebody asks you, where are you? I'm around the corner. How precise is that response? How long will it take you to be here? I'll be there very soon. How precise is very soon? I think we need to move to a point where if we're asked, how long is it going to take you to get here? Give me 5 minutes. I'll be there in less than 5. I'm 2 days away. Let's learn to have our words, whatever it is we're doing, let's apply some precision, because we take that same attitude to our workplace. So things just happen. We don't want to question. We don't want to ask. And if we do not ask, there's no way we can research. There's no way we can research if we don't have that habit of asking. So just to do a quick check, if we were listening, there were steps that he mentioned to evidence-based practice. Who knows the first one? Amazing. So people that are paying attention, ask. Then after asking, pardon? Acquire, yes. The next one, appraise. After that, is it the same person that is talking? After that, I need to get a response from here. Yes, we have apply. After apply, you assess. After assessing everybody, let's say the last one, you disseminate. Please, nurses, it's not the time. We can't be timid anymore. We can't be afraid anymore. It's not going to take us anywhere. So you find out something, share it with a like mind. The person that is going to motivate you, the person that is going to push you up, the person that is going to not cast his own fears on you. Because most times when people tell us not to do something, it's because they really can't do it. They don't see beyond their noses. So this is the deliverance that we need, and we are the deliverer of this profession. And I'm sure that with our input, with our determination to move on ahead, we'll be able to get the change and the transformation that we desire. So he has said something, and a lot borders around leadership, taking leadership. In nursing, we think is until you're a CNO or a PNO or all those titles, that's when you're a leader. But no, how wrong we are. We're going to get that from an expert that will be telling us more about it. If you have your questions, please put them down. I'm sure there's going to be room. There's room for questions and answers. For those who cannot or may not be able to answer our questions directly, there's a way that MyCare assistant will make that available, responses available to us. So to take us on transformational leadership in nursing practice and education. You know, we talked about moving from awareness to implementation, to action. So Olua Damilare has said a lot. We need to take up that mantle, get on the vehicle that would enable us to implement these things and to handle transformational leadership in nursing practice and education is the Speaker of the Oyo State Youth Parliament of Nigeria, Honorable Fawole Israel. He's here physically with us. So a round of applause as we invite him up to the lectern to take up his own presentation. Just keep clapping until he takes the mic from me.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm so sorry for coming a bit late. Lagos Old Pop, I'm not used to it. First, I really want to appreciate the organizers of this event for bringing up this beautiful and auspicious event. It's a very beautiful one, and I think it's the first of its kind in Nigeria and in Africa. Please, a round of applause for them, please. A round of applause for them. Thank you, and well done. And coming in, listening to my Oga, Dr. Akingbade is my chief, my boss. He has said quite a number of things. Some of the things I want to say, he has said quite a number of them. So I will not get us bored. I'll just move straight to some of the things. So I don't know if we are going to have the slide on. Okay. Can we have that one? Oh, all right. Thank you. So basically, I'll be talking about transformational leadership in nursing practice and education. So my name is Nurse Fawole Israel. And like I said, I happen to be the Right Honorable Speaker of the Oyo State Youth Parliament. And I'll basically be talking about leadership in nursing practice and education. You'd agree with me, just like Nurse Julie Mogbo said, that leadership is everything. Even when you have the knowledge and the will of the leaders to actually implement some of these things are not there, there's going to be a problem. So I'll be sharing from a personal story and personal experiences on how that through this knowledge, from research, from asking, questioning the question, I am able, with the support of a couple of my team members, to achieve a major milestone that is going to be the first of its kind in Nigeria. And it's going to happen, it's going to start from your state. And that is the use of EHR and EMR in Oyo State. It's going to be the first government adopted EHR fully funded by an organization which I will talk about. So let us move forward. I don't know if this will work. Okay. All right. So once again, I want to express my appreciation to the organizers of this occasion who invited me to handle this assignment. So let's start from who is a leader. A leader is someone who is empowered with skill to manage both the human resources, financial resources, intellectual resources of an organization. And I believe that as nurses, during our training, we are all prepared by default to be a leader. And that was why, during our nursing training, we taught what do you call it, management, and we all I don't know if all of us are nurses, right? And we are all acquainted with Erifayu's what do you call it, management, whatever, and all of those things. So all of those things are quite important for us as leaders. Every nurse is by default prepared to be a leader. So we must, in every of our daily activities, in every of our endeavors, be prepared to be leaders. I'll talk about leadership as a set of skills and ability that a person embodies. A leader is a person who embodies and uses these ability and skills to create vision and engage to create and engage others to share in the vision. What Nurse Abiola Ilara, for example, is doing is what we call leadership. She's demonstrating leadership. Just like Nurse Akingbade said, funding Health Informatics, Nursing Informatics programs, research is really huge. I mean, it is really, really huge. And seeing somebody like her taking up that vision is something that we really should, support and applaud. So I'm going somewhere. So nursing leadership education courses have demonstrated beneficial use of theories, guidance established by disciplines to design leadership courses. So what are nurses' role in leadership? We have quite a number of roles to play in leadership, from policy making to policy implementation. For example, my role so far being a nurse leader. While I was in the university, let me tell a story. While I was in the university, I could remember my first encounter to start research was I was ascribed to nurse a patient who had chronic renal failure, which was secondary to, I think, use of all these hydroquinone, all those bleaching creams, yeah. So it became a burden to me. While I was on campus, I was a campus journalist. And I was like, oh no, this is a very annoying issue. The man later died. I became so emotionally attached to the man, and he died. So I wanted to publish a story that, no, what is NAFDAC doing? What are our public health officials doing? Then I needed data. I didn't even know there's something called retrospective study that year. So I went to the CMDO. So I'm Nurse Fawole. While I was in school, I was speaker of my faculty as well. So I like, okay, I'm Nurse Fawole. Please, sir, I need access to get data for me to be able to publish something. I want to know the number of people who have died in the past, like for the past 5 years, so that we have data to back up the claims and to also call out relevant stakeholders who have refused to take actions. And it was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Go to the record. He gave me a small note. I went to the record. I took this from the CMD. He asked me to get data of this because I want to use this for this. Do you know the funny thing is when he took me to that room where bulk of documents, unsorted documents, and I'm like, what? Like, how am I supposed to start getting and sorting which one was CKD, which one was not CKD, which one was for the female ward? And that was my first encounter when I started searching for careers prospects in nursing. as far back as 2014, 13, I got to know about IEEE because when I was searching, I saw engineering, medicine, and biology. So I got to know there's an IEEE. IEEE is Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineering, and that's like the biggest engineering and engineering organization in the world. So I went to their meeting, I joined the organization, there are different societies. I joined engineering, medicine, and biology, and that was where I started knowing about there's something called EHR, that's electronic health record, and there's something called EMR, that's electronic medical record. And I was like, yes, we can actually start working on something like this. And as far back as 2014, I bought the vision of developing an EHR platform that would help us to be able to have data. Because when it comes to policy information, you would agree with me that experience is the weakest form of evidence. Without data, you can't say you have a solid evidence. Yeah. So, for us to be able to gather this data, the use of EHR and EMR must be in place. So I started working on different proposals. Even though I didn't have any IT knowledge as at that time. I was working on many, what do you call it, proposals on how we can adopt. I was focusing primarily on Lautech Teaching Hospital Bomosho that year. I could remember I carried out a research and I told Nurse Abiola about it some times back that I was trying to assess knowledge acceptance and utilization of health and nursing informatics amidst nurses and healthcare workers in the hospital. And the research shows that there was poor knowledge or no knowledge. And of course, when there was no knowledge in the in the finding, there will be poor acceptance. Yeah. And when there is no acceptance, do we have utilization? No. And Nurse Akimade mentioned something about empowering nurses, that exposure and all of those things. When it is there, it becomes very easy to, bring this system on board. So getting that, I kept my research. I sent it to Nurse Akimade, see what I found though. And around to see how we can do one or two things. But we found out that the funding that is required to get some of these things done is on the very high side. But today that I am talking, we have a $3.2 million for EHR funding for EHR and EMR program in Oyo State that I, to the glory of God, was able to facilitate. And I'll get to that story. So, like I was trying to say, my activities in in IEEE, we're able to do quite a number of things, attended several conferences, gathered idea, just like Nurse Julie Mugu was saying, that networking is very important. As a nurse, like I said, I have little or no experiences when it comes to IT, but because of the environment, the community I plugged myself into, I started building these capacities that is needed. I started knowing about artificial intelligence. I started knowing about information management system. I started knowing about Python, using it for data analysis, using it for, programming robotics. I know about embedded systems, machine modeling, Tricoder X, LOX, e-health, and all of those things. And it was through these organizations, through these relevant bodies, that I started having this exposure. Fast forward to the time I became National President of Nursing Students Nigeria, NUNSA National. Also, we found out again why I kept that on pause. I found out again, just like Ahmed said, that there was poor research attitude among nursing students and even nurses generally. Because when I go on the ward, I'm always asking questions. If you're my teacher, you'll be tired. Because I want to know why A is A, why A is even having the color. I was always asking questions, and they're always getting tired. Like, see, Israel, go and read this. So before I even finished university, I've read so much. I was sure just reading a lot of things, and I talked to him, not talking about it. What can we do? There's a problem. Nurses on the ward, when I ask them questions, they get tired of my questions. And because most of my questions are research oriented, it takes you to actually have data to be able to answer some of those questions. Yeah. Moving forward, then we talked about, okay, can I now facilitate a research capacity building program for nursing students in Nigeria? Let us start and focusing on the ones who are still in the university. And that was how NUNSA and INR partnered together to organize the first research capacity building program for nursing students and nurses in Nigeria. It was during COVID-19 lockdown, and we had about 700 participants for that event. And I mean, it was a major event. And of course, one of our call to action was to establish journal club across citadels of learning in Nigeria. And today, I could say that INR successfully have a journal club where nurses and nursing students are being helped in building capacities in research. And when you look at it, this boils down to the leadership. Like I said, this initiative was done when I was national president for nursing students in Nigeria. Yeah, If I was not the president, maybe that wouldn't have been done. If I didn't know about research, if I have not been involved in activities that I have been involved in while I was on campus, maybe all of these ideas wouldn't even come to play. So leadership is everything. You'll agree with me that policies are central to people, and people are central to policies. And nurses need to start, how do I put it, start getting involved in a lot of leadership activities. There's climate change problem all around the world. I'm not sure nurses are even at the conversation table. And when you look at climate change issues, Nightingale started that program, but you not agree, you would even agree with me. During the Crimean War, when Nightingale set up a camp in the monastery for the wounded, one of the first things she did was to clean the environment. Environment is very critical to the survival of every organism. And look at the problem we're having in the world about climate change now. Is it not similar to what Nightingale did? But these conversations will be going on. Nurses will not be involved. In fact, some of us will not. We even turn deaf ear, like it's climate change. We are talking about rain. No, it's our issue. It is our concern. We must be active. We must question the question: why is this happening? What are nurses' role in achieving SDGs? What are nurses' role in achieving the 2063 African Union's goals? There's something we call African 2063 agenda. I don't know if you know about it. Nurses have roles to play in all of this. I'll say quite a number of things. There's also another education intervention fund that we're able to secure for your state. We got about $307,000. These are not government funded programs. These are leadership initiative funded programs, which are product of research. And I would strongly encourage us all that by default, whether we like it or not, we cannot run away from research. I know research can be funny at the beginning, but you don't know research by reading research. You know research by doing it. When you do it over and over, you get used to it. You see, as Dr. Akimade was talking about, like, is that simple? Yes, it's simple actually. But of course, it's because he has mastered the art. He has studied it over and over and over and over. So let me move forward. I've said quite a number of things. So when you talk about transformational leadership in nursing, it takes, okay, so I'll talk about nursing executive must embody the principles of that transformational leadership to meet leadership imperative of achieving high quality outcomes in this ever-changing healthcare environment. You would agree with me that there's daily evolution in the labor force all around the world. Every day you see new innovations, new things are being done, and you are wondering, where are nurses in all of these things? In our various hospitals, we've seen something called pulse oximetry before. I was supposed to come with some robots, but because of my journey, I couldn't pick them up in Ibadan. Many of us have seen pulse oximetry, yeah? Are we not curious as to what mechanism is pulse oximetry or pulse oximeter using to generate our oxygen saturation level? Are we not curious? Do we know that the person who even invented pulse oximeter is not a nurse or a doctor? So these are the reasons why programs like this, initiatives like this, are very, 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 very important. And our leaders in nursing, the political leaders, the government, should really critically look into, funding and supporting programs like this. But of course, as nurses, I would also put a point of a scenario. As nurses, when we have this knowledge, it's very easy for us to actually apply it. When I was on campus, like I said, I was a campus journalist. And when I see a problem, because of the knowledge I have, I'm able to say, this is newsworthy. And of course, some of us who are data analysts, when you see some things, you know that you can easily make a paper with this data you have. Yeah, you can easily make, a lot of ideas. Some of us who are also already into tech, yeah, when we see some problems, you know that, yes, I can apply something. I can apply this technological knowledge I have to profile solutions, the number of them, but I didn't want to get us bored because I'm still going to a very far place. Let's move forward. Importance of, yes, what are the importance? Why is it important for us to have transformational leadership in nursing practice? Transformational leadership is a leadership style where leaders encourage, inspire, motivate, and the employees to innovate. Please note, to innovate and to create change, to facilitate growth and shape the company's future success. It is accomplished by setting an example of organization at the organization level. It can be done through corporate culture and employee empowerment. I'll still explain some of the things on this point. In nursing, it is important for us to improve client care, provide a faster way to fast-tracking care, serve as means of empowerment to nursing. So when you see a transformational leader in nursing, it takes somebody who knows something, yeah, to say, oh, okay, so this we want to do it. And I would strongly recommend that MCPDP programs in Nigeria must partner with MyCare assistance or this initiative, so that during these MCPDP programs, because okay, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. So that during these trainings, people can have up-to-date exposures, not all these jejum stories. When you go there, you are most times you will sleep. You will sleep off. I mean, these are important capacity building empowerment programs that we need for nurses in Nigeria. Whether or not, in fact, some people cannot even use Mavis Beacon. Is that sad? Serious. I was talking to Nurse Ainara about digital inequality. Look at what is happening, the transformation that's happening in the banking sector. I mean, it's massive. And when you look at the West, what is happening in the hospital in the West, many of us want to go and work in the UK, in the US, in Canada. Some of this knowledge, whether we like it or not, we'll still have to go back to learn them. So we must empower ourselves. It takes a leader, a transformation leader, somebody who has that skill, the knowledge, that exposure, that, oh, okay, why is it that for us to make policies, we need to they need to be data informed? And how can they be? Is it all this bulk of what do you call it, documents that you want to start? No, through the use of EHR, through the use of EMR, through the exposures, through programs and initiatives like this, are the ways by which nurses, there can be that transformation that we want for in the healthcare sector. And of course, it's going to provide a fast tracking. Imagine in the lab, instead of you waiting for them to say after 3 days they're going to send it, in the lab, when they don't, when they are done with their, what do you call it, they are something, they can send it to are doing in your state. Everybody in your state will have access to free EHR. How is this going to be? You come to the hospital, you get a card, your name, your health record will be there. Instead of you writing the papers, and when you look at the advantages of this, some of this digital platform we are bringing to solve healthcare problems in the state, consumption of paper is also reducing climate change problems. Because this paper, after being used for years, they'll be taken out to bonds, becomes an environmental problem for us. So, but when you have them digitally saved, it saves time, saves a lot of problems. The what do you call the solution also have the telemedicine aspects, have the Clinified marketplace. That's where when you want to buy medicine, also coping the issues of buying fake medicine and all of these things. Claims processing, of course, you want to get your medical with what do you call this issue? I've forgotten. It's WHO's one of WHO's program, because on the app you're able to say you can get loans to sort your medical emergencies. Okay, this is that. Okay, these are some of the solutions: real-time access to detailed reports, claims accrued by providers, manually and automatically post encounter claim submission on behalf of providers to capture all encounter details, data, electronic handwriting, recognition. So these are some of the problems that have been stated here, the solutions to being stated here. So this is how the platform looks. It will be starting. We are starting the pilots in Oyo State by next month. And like I said, while working on this, we got an American organization that had interest in the projects, and we got a $3.2 million. The government does not have that money because most of the projects that the government have been doing has been on moratoriums. So when we met the Commissioner for Health, we met the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and of course, Chairman's Committee on Health. This is what we want to do. They asked us, what are we going to need? He said, okay, we will need like $12 million. She said, where would the government? He said, where would the government see it? We said, okay, no wala. We'll write some organizations in the US, and of course, we got some of the funding which we are going to use to start the initiative or the program in Oyo State. This is the dashboard, how it looks like, the hospital administrative, space, nurses, doctors, everybody have it. Is an all-encompassing structure. I do not want to take our time. I don't know if Nurse Julimogo is giving me time up. Yeah? All right. So how we engage, first contact, like I said, when you come to the hospital, patient care, laboratory, order your medication, make payments, facilitate facilities management, data, what do you call it? Data analytics. And what is the data analysis need for? When you want to bring, what do you call it? A change. there's a need for need assessment. Need assessment followed by need analysis. These are some of the things we did to actually bring this in place. Need assessments, need analysis, stakeholders engagement. All of us are stakeholders. We have met with the nurses. Oh, how can this system be done? We had the several classes with them where they make, oh, okay, so this is how we write this. This is how the platform should be. We met doctors, we met physiotherapists, we met the lab and the radiology guys who gave us
in
insight.
technology advancement, connect and grow.
All of them are full of data because they have that, what do you call it, experience. So this is the working mechanism of the app. So and I would say that transformational leadership style is pivotal to nursing, especially for increasing patient safety, creating a sound patient safety culture. Healthcare managers and administrators should strive to become transformational leaders. It will give the nursing and healthcare staff the confidence to make decisions, and it will help them to improve patient outcomes, reduce overall cost, boost esprit de corps. So transformational leadership in nursing has the potential to have a significant impact on both the employees and their patients. Thank you so much. I didn't talk so much about robotics because I needed to demonstrate, but I didn't come with those tools. So that was, I'm not able to talk much about Internet of Things and all of those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Fawale Israel. Another round of applause, please, for that well-detailed work and letting us know what is currently happening in Oyo State and what is possible in wherever it is that we are functioning. It's important for us to know that you have an idea. You may not have the support of certain stakeholders, like the person he mentioned that I know very well. You do not wait. Just get on with the work. The person that might support your work may not be a stakeholder, may not be in the profession, but just get started. In the course of it, most times people are afraid to get onto something new. But when they see you succeeding at it, then they come along the way. And at that point, you can do whatever it is you want to do. You will think she started like this. No, start from where you are. And before you know it, you will be making or building a giant program and transforming healthcare, because we need everyone on board. So we have our next presenter. Let's remember, it's a global event. We have participants from all over, and we really appreciate that they have joined this program. For everyone participating globally, we say thank you for being a part of it. Please put down your questions if you have any, and we will attend to them when the time comes. So we are going to invite the next speaker. She will be presenting virtually. And that is Toria, also known as Tori. Toria, also known as Tori. Toria Shaw-Morawski.
My name is Toria Shaw-Morawski, and I'm delighted to be with you today. I serve as the Senior Manager of Professional Development and the Tiger Staff Liaison.
A network builder in global health informatics, social work, and workforce development. She has over 15 years of experience designing and implementing grassroots programs, projects, and initiatives. Her superpower is bringing diverse populations together in a shared vision to achieve goals and milestones through education, mentoring, and coaching. Tori currently serves as the Senior Manager of Professional Development for the Health Information and Management System Society, where she oversees all programs, activities, volunteers' efforts, and research for global health informatics students and professionals. Prior to this, Tori worked in countries throughout Africa, the Caribbean, and Europe, focused on health equity and workforce development. She co-founded Global Implementation Solutions, GIS, an innovative nonprofit organization providing customized project solutions to healthcare systems in resource-limited countries. Tori obtained her Master of Social Work from University of Illinois at Chicago, Jane Addams College of Social Work, with a mental health concentration. She trained to become a clinical therapist, working with vulnerable and marginalized communities of color. Today, Tori serves as the president of the board of directors for GIS, a member of the Multi-Inter-Professional Center for Health Informatics, external advisory board at the University of Texas, Arlington, and the advisory committee member for the Summer Institute of Nursing Informatics conference. So she and Greer Barlow will be presenting together. It's important for us to know that people work together. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome Toria and Greer Barlow, and they will be taking us on community perspective of technological advancement in health informatics. A round of applause once again, please. Thank you.
Healthcare. She's located in Saudi Arabia, and together we are delighted to join you for the Nursing Data Transformation Conference remotely. Now I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Barlow, who's going to be talking to you about the community perspective of technological advancements in health informatics. Dr. Barlow, are you there?
I am, Tori. Thank you very much for the introduction. Delighted to be with you all today. It's the evening time here. I'm actually in Bahrain. I work in Saudi Arabia and I'm from England. What I wanted to, in fact, what Tori and I wanted to do was, rather than revisit presentations on data and statistics and policy and the things that we can all look up and review at our leisure, we wanted to focus more today with your precious time on it being a fun and inspirational, hopefully resulting in smiles and food for thought as we both reflect on our careers and our key decisions, and also the luck that we've been given, if I may say so. Fortunate enough to have been so lucky to have made the right decisions, certainly in my opinion. And then it'll be back to Tori to talk about the HIMSS resources. So I think my next slide is about the pivotal career moment. At an outline, I was 16 years old at school. I was a bit of a rebellious teenager. I certainly was not one of these people that said, oh, I was born to be a nurse. I wasn't. I kind of fell into a 2-year college pre-nursing course. I then did 3 years nursing, 2 years midwifery. And what I'm going to talk about today with you is what I did when I was a 23-year-old single female. By that stage, I loved nursing, and all my friends and families, they had different goals to me. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong, but I just didn't want to get married and buy a house and with a partner and have a car on hire purchase and have children, etc. So I thought, what will I do? I was having this conversation with a colleague midwife on the labour ward in Manchester, and she said, you know, Greer, why don't you go to Saudi Arabia, because you can travel and the tax-free salary, it's amazing, you know. And I had nothing to lose. I actually picked up the phone there and then to a company in London, Recruitment International or something, a long time ago. And I said, you know what, I'm going for it. I'm going for it before I change my mind. So that's when it all happened, on labour and delivery in Manchester. Leading up to the next slide then, just a quick photograph of kind of where I was and where I am now. So I did my general nurse training in Rochdale, my midwifery training in Manchester. For those of you who know England, it's always dark and dreary with lots of old buildings. I love it really, but that's basically where I came from, if you will, in terms of my basic training. And it was here during my nurse training that I did kind of grow up and matured into who I am now. as a woman. And during my nurse training, you know, things were very strict back then, and the matron of the ward, whichever ward I was on, always had the huge starch white hats on and the epaulets and the huge silver buckle, and you could hear her heels clicking, and I'm like, I was almost terrified of her actually back in the day. And I thought, no, I like this. It was almost like the army. I don't know how to describe it. I've never been in the army, but it taught me discipline and respect for others. And of course, that I actually did care for patients. So that was England. And as I said, I got on a plane. I won't lie to you, it was the first time I had ever been on a plane. I didn't come from money. When my parents, when I was growing up, went on vacation or on holiday, we call it in England, I used to have a pony down the road in a field, and it was great that they were away. So the first time I ever got on a plane, I was 23 years old, and I went on a 3,300-mile, correct me if I'm not exactly right, plane trip from Manchester in England to Dammam International Airport in Saudi Arabia. So just before I did this, I remember my late father saying, I'll have the next slide, please, Toria, thank you. My late father said, Saudi Arabia, Greer, I think there's a war on there. And I'm like, are you sure it's safe? And I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, I'm, like I said earlier, quite rebellious, but very happy. So indeed, yes, there was a war going on. It was the Gulf War, and I knew I knew very little about it. I shouldn't say nothing. And I was on a plane, and first time in my life, descending as we were going into Dammam. It was dark. I had no idea where I was going. I thought we were going to a desert with camels, and as I looked out of the aeroplane windows, we could actually see the fighter jets engines below us. So I think that was a pivotal moment where I did think, oh, maybe Daddy was right. Anyway, it was too late then. So I landed at the airport, and that was Greer in Saudi Arabia. So the journey began, and I was on terra firma, as we say, and I was employed by Saudi Aramco, formerly known as the Arabian American Oil Company, which was founded in 1933. And today we have 67,000 employees. So in 2013, Saudi Aramco Medical Services joined forces with Johns Hopkins in Baltimore in America to create a brand new health system for all Saudi Aramco employees and their dependents. And we became Johns Hopkins Aramco Healthcare. So the people, the healthcare that we provided, the culture back then and more so now was just absolutely wonderful, is absolutely wonderful. And while I said I'm only going to go to Saudi Arabia for a year, I knew within 2 weeks that there was a lot more to it. I wasn't in quite a rush to get back to Manchester, get married and have 2.5 children. Maybe there's something wrong with me, I don't know. So yeah, I was going to just face forward and see what life threw at me. So overall here, I think the key talking point is here that I've told you I did my registered nurse, my registered midwife. While I was working on the 12-hour shifts in Saudi Arabia, I did lots of overtime. The money was great. The life was good. The social life was great. But I had time on my hands to, develop myself. I did swimming instructor's course. I did a horse riding instructor's course. I spent lots of time doing social activities. And I thought, just maybe, I can do something academic with myself. So I did the advanced diploma in midwifery. I did the Bachelor of Science in midwifery. And I think that was when I was like, how many more essays and theses can I write on the culture in Saudi Arabia and how, the life of the labour ward midwife in Saudi Arabia. And that's when I was searching the internet, looking for what else to do, because I'd kind of proven then to myself that I was able to do this. Fortunately now I had the money to pay for my own studies. And I had the time on my hands working on the 12-hour shifts, having like 12 days off a month, it would have been then. So I looked at MBA courses, and I looked at so many psychology courses I was kind of interested in. And honestly, I quite literally fell on informatics. And the more I looked at it and explored it, I thought this is something that I actually really am genuinely interested in. I know myself, if I'm not interested in something, forget it. It's not going to work. So then why informatics? If I could have the next slide, please, Toria. So why informatics indeed? I'm curious. It had to be something that I wanted to do. I was looking for something different, yet I still wanted to be a nurse. I'd kind of prove that to myself. I kind of instinctively just knew that we could do better than pen and paper, you know, in life, in healthcare, in everything. My friends and family, a bit like when I was going to Saudi Arabia, are you absolutely crazy? You know, what is this informatics? You're a nurse, you're a midwife, what, you know? So long story short, I got through the Master of Healthcare in informatics. The students, even then, that was a bit scary. I was the only nurse. They were really kind of academically bright senior physicians and anesthesiologists and veterinary surgeons, but I managed to get through it. So I'll good job myself for that one. There was a lot of studying involved. So back to my hospital then, our hospital, Johns Hopkins Aramco Healthcare, two large healthcare facilities, 6 emergency rooms, 4 satellite clinics, and we were using a hybrid of SAP, which worked very well for the oil company, and paper records, which I think, you know, in them days we were actually quite advanced in them days. Sound like my grandmother. So I was totally sold on the influence that IT could have on healthcare. Got loads of pushback from leadership. Nothing's wrong with SAP, nothing's wrong with pen and paper, la-di-da-di-da. Again, my only option here, then you're going to have to move out of nursing services, because nurses are, you know, this is not nursing, Greer, is it? Well, we all know now today it is, and is recognised as such. I was accused, and possibly the truth could still be with me right now. Well, that was a suicide risk, of career suicide. That would be, obviously being politically correct. Was it the right decision, and so on. We went on a huge voyage to find out what was out there, what was available in the world. The oil company said, not happening, Greer, you're a nurse. You know, how much are these electronic health records? What's wrong with SAP? We're going to set up a new oil rig and not invest hundreds of thousands of dollars on an electronic health record. Again, long story short, we won. We won. So influences of healthcare IT, obviously one of the key things close to my heart is the electronic health record. There are so many. Epic was the vendor that we selected. No strings attached. That was just our decision, following a 2-year, it was an 8-year journey to land on Epic. And then Epic was actually a 2-year project. So there was I, a nurse, midwife, moved out of nursing services and into medical support services to lead this project. There was 2 nurses, a physiotherapist, and a radiology technician at the time. This was truly where I found my niche. This is what I want to share with you today. How once a nurse, always a nurse. But this journey that got to Epic and got to an electronic health record, switching on a pivotal moment. It was well worth every single minute. Who was going to do what? Where would we sit? How many computers would we need? IT infrastructure. We don't have a chair here. This light bulb's broken. Oh, it was fabulous. It was the best. We thinking outside the box, working around the clock. It was the best 2 years of my life. We went from 5 of us to a team of 100. The next 3 slides really all about the electronic health record and what any intelligent and electronic health record that is integrated across many facilities and now, of course, across the world provides, such as your online health portals and efficient timely notification of critical results. These could go on and on and on. You can read them at your leisure. And the next slide pretty much covers the next set of the influence of the electronic health record, why they're beneficial. We could speak for hours and hours on how beneficial they are if your healthcare organization or clinic is in any kind of financial position to indeed afford the luxury. So just a couple of old photographs there of those were actually taken from Saudi Aramco archives, and more information on the electronic health record integration and how it serves the rural community. And my final slide really is the message that I wish to conclude with and wish you all to consider as nurses, as healthcare professionals, is that anything is possible if you truly believe in what you are doing from your heart. We're all well equipped with very unique skill sets. There's no right or wrong. Just do what you know is best. Always do what's best for the patients that you care for. And my message is I wish you all the very best in pursuing your dreams. Thank you very much for your time. Toria.
Thank you so much, Greer. It's always so interesting to hear about your background, and you shared a wealth of information I'm sure they will take with them following our session today. Hello again, my name is Toria Shamorowski, but everyone calls me Tori, and I'm going to be talking about global community and professional development and how you can grow where you are planted. I shared earlier that I am with the Healthcare Information and Management System Society, known as HIMSS. I have a Master of Social Work, so my MSW. I am not a nurse. I trained to become a clinical therapist working with vulnerable, at-risk, marginalized communities, primarily of color. I recently became a certified diversity practitioner. And I'm in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. I'm going to share about my personal journey to HIMSS, and I really hope that I'm going to be able to inspire you to grow where you're currently planted or pave a path to where you desire to be. And I think it's fair to say at this point, we all know life isn't linear. Your career path is certainly not going to be linear. So I'm going to share mine as an example. I obtained my bachelor's degree with a major in communication and a minor in Spanish. I studied abroad in Spain for a semester. I was raring to graduate and go out into the field, and as luck would have it, I landed at a marketing firm, but I was not happy. I was not feeling fulfilled. And at the time, the job market was really tough in Chicago, so my aunt offered me the opportunity to move to the Central Coast of California. And it became an opportunity that I couldn't say no to. So I moved to the Central Coast in California, and as luck would have it, I made a pivot. I went from for-profit to nonprofit. I ended up working at an HIV/AIDS LGBTQ plus nonprofit organization that was located in Santa Barbara County. I ran their Santa Maria office. This job changed my life. It really did. I was so inspired. I went on to become an HIV test counselor. I helped staff their needle exchange program. And when I became an HIV test counselor, it just changed how I interacted with people. It enabled me to go to this sacred space, and it really inspired me to go back to school and to graduate school to become a clinical social worker so that I could be a therapist. So then I moved back to Chicago. I got enrolled in my graduate degree. And yeah, I really thought I would become a therapist. But at the same time, I think the same day that I started my master's degree program, I had an opportunity to work for an organization that had just received PEPFAR funding. PEPFAR, known as the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. It was a President Bush the second initiative. And that work, because of my HIV/AIDS background, I was invited to travel throughout Africa and work on public health initiatives. That led to me meeting two incredible women, and we created a nonprofit organization called Global Implementation Solutions. So by the time I was graduating to become a therapist, I was already doing the work of my life in global health and international development, and really decided at that point, I'm not going to become a therapist. So I'll talk to you a little bit now about that pivotal career moment. My first trip to Africa took me to South Africa, Johannesburg, on my way to Lesotho. And I am biracial, and I had never really known about my African roots. But when I touched down on the soil, I would say that everything in my mind, my body, it just changed. It was like I really felt like I came home. And as luck would have it, I would go on to work throughout Africa, in Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and Nigeria. I traveled twice to Abuja. You can see some of those photos on the screen. My work also took me to the Caribbean, so working in Haiti, the Dominican Republic. Really, I'm working in resource-limited countries who were not as advanced technologically as the US. Really changed the way I saw myself and how I viewed the world. So this was all before HIMSS, focusing in on the global health, international development initiatives, again, funded by the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known as PEPFAR. And so next, I'm going to say that I think working throughout Africa really taught me the importance of community development in a very visceral way, in a way that I had never experienced before. So I'm going to share this beautiful quote by Coretta Scott King, who is the wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And so I think you guys will all resonate with this. Being in a community where you've grown up, or a community through your schooling, or a community that you've established through your career is so pivotal. And I'm going to be empowering you to take a step forward in your career with community development if you have not already. But I would be remiss not to share a little bit about HIMSS. We are truly a global advisor and thought leader who works to support the transformation of the healthcare ecosystem through both information and technology. We have just over 300 employees that are located around the world, although we are headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. The HIMSS mission is to realize the full health potential of every human everywhere. And our mission is really to reform the global health ecosystem through, again, the power of information and the technology. So now let's just talk a little bit about the strong bonds of connection, because we all lived through a once-in-a-lifetime experience with COVID-19. And I think we can all agree that this global pandemic really changed the way that we think about connecting and gathering. And with that, based on where you're at, what your passions are, what you're pursuing advanced degrees or undergraduate degrees in, I really want to empower you to think about joining a professional society. This gives you the opportunity to opt into a community, a workforce, or a work group. It will provide you invaluable opportunities to connect, to learn with like-minded colleagues. And today, you can join a professional society and opt into these communities, really regardless of where you're located. You can join a society such as HIMSS if you're, located throughout Europe. You can explore the European Federation for Medical Informatics. And there, you'll have that opportunity to connect through networking, that peer-to-peer networking, but you'll also tap into a wealth of educational opportunities while you're working to cultivate a global network. And then after that, you can, connect with people virtually, but you may find that there are some in-person opportunities that you should take to go to conferences and beyond. So again, regardless of where you are in your career, I promise you there is a professional society that is waiting for you. I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou, and it's, "The ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned." And I think this quote is the perfect, it gives the perfect sentiment to know that when you find your professional home, it's going to feel like home. You're going to be able to be who and as you are. I talked about how I am the Tiger liaison here at HIMSS. Tiger is an acronym that stands for Technology Informatics Guiding Education Reform. And I always think about Tiger as being a global initiative and community that really focuses in on three main buckets. There's the education reform side of things. We really work to foster interprofessional community development and then global workforce development. So Tiger offers tools and resources for learners like you to help advance their skills, and for educators to help develop technology and health informatics curricula, as well as supplemental resources. And Tiger's journey is really unique. It began as a grassroots initiative within the nursing community in 2006. But then it found itself making its own pivot. It expanded globally, and that's really where the vision was. They wanted to establish a community that was represented by members and volunteers from around the world. And then Tiger was a standalone foundation that was unfortunately unable to financially sustain itself. So the pioneers of the initiative were looking for a new home. And they had already been working with HIMSS. HIMSS had been donating in kind time to support the Tiger cause. So it made sense that Tiger would then go on to be immersed into the HIMSS enterprise. And that happened in 2014. And as Tiger was immersing into the enterprise, I was hired to come on board to oversee the initiative. So Tiger officially became a part of HIMSS on September 22nd, 2014. And following that transition, the pioneers already saw where nursing informatics, where the informatics field was going. And so one of their stipulations for transition to HIMSS was that Tiger embrace a interprofessional, interdisciplinary approach, again, because they realized this is really where the field was going, and the work they were doing was applicable regardless of discipline. Over the last 8 years, we've worked really hard to cultivate and expand our footing into the interprofessional and now intergenerational space. And with that, international task force leaders, members, and myself have put together some global Tiger Network values that I think you'll all appreciate. And so we are intergenerational, interprofessional, and this is important because we actually mirror the composition of the global healthcare workforce in this capacity. We're also equitable and inclusive. We welcome all, regardless of where they're located, age, background, sex, ethnicity, sexual orientation, which is so very important. I shared earlier that I'm a certified diversity practitioner, and really throughout my career, I have been a health equity, diversity, and inclusive champion. We are also innovative. We innovate by engaging again with HIMSS staff, our subject matter expertise volunteers, and our stakeholders to co-create the resources that the interprofessional community consumes to benefit clinicians such as yourselves who are navigating a global healthcare ecosystem. And then lifelong learning. if there's nothing else that you take away from today's presentation, it is the importance of lifelong learning, focusing on keeping the global health informatics community engaged by using our collaborative brain power to mentor and educate the current and next generation of healthcare professionals. I am a lifelong learner, and I believe most of you are too. And then, prior to COVID, Tiger was really fortunate that we were already digital by design. We were already striving to help our community connect virtually, but in this new digital world we found ourselves in living in post-COVID, it's so very vital to offer projects, tools, resources, and opportunities that strive to connect us all digitally. So luckily, Tiger had already embraced that prior to COVID. And then I just want to orientate you who our interprofessional audience is. We are comprised of academic professionals, students, early careerists, adult learners, clinical educators, and then there are some of our community members and volunteers who are a hybrid of two or more. They may be working full-time and going to school full-time as well, or some kind of combination of that. So I always think of us, our target audience, as 5 main buckets. And then we have an international task force that is comprised of subject matter experts representing 34 countries and hopefully growing after today's presentation. There are roughly 110 members of the international task force. And so I'm so very fortunate to work with so many incredible leaders in informatics from all over the world, such as Dr. Barlow. And in collaborating with them is how we, again, create these tools, resources, and educational offerings that our interprofessional community at HIMSS then consumes. I don't know how many of you are a HIMSS member, but if you are, I would really encourage you to opt into the Tiger interdisciplinary community today. You can see the steps that you can take on this slide. But also, if you're seeking a volunteer opportunity, we will be opening up slots on our international task force next month. So if you're interested, you're going to have my contact information, and I'm going to encourage you to send me an email with your CV or resume, along with the justification of why you think you would be a great addition to our international task force. All right. Now I'm going to talk about the importance of continuing to upskill and really embracing becoming a lifelong learner. Becoming a member of a professional society, again, opting into a community or network, will really bring a wealth of educational material and resources for you to both leverage and contribute to. So we're going to move along, and I'm going to start out with a quote by Nelson Mandela. And it says, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And I know that you'll all agree. So now I'm just going to give you some examples of what HIMSS may have to offer you if you're interested in becoming a member or getting involved with Tiger. HIMSS has an incredible resource center that provides actionable insights into health information and technology. They have a range of topics from subject matter experts. So, there's a topic list, there's online learning opportunities. There's also a HIMSS job mine. Are you looking for a new job or your next hire? You can discover leading global jobs available through that really, again, focus in on that health IT informatics. I would encourage you to sign up for Job Mine. It's completely free. And you can see at the bottom of this slide, it has a landing page link where you can find out all the information that you need to get started in JobMine if you're looking for a job or you're looking to hire a candidate. And then HIMSS is really known for our certifications. You may have heard about CA HIMSS, CP HIMSS, or our new Certified Professional in Digital Health Transformation Strategy, CPDHTS. Why should you become certified? I think when you receive a certification, it demonstrates your knowledge and understanding of the profession, and that you've reached a milestone in your career development. It'll help you also distinguish yourself in an increasingly competitive marketplace. It also helps you expand your career opportunities by gaining new skills and tools that will help you make a difference not only in your organization, but in your community as well. So I would encourage you to peruse the various certifications that HIMSS has to offer. And then powered by HIMSS, Tiger has a virtual learning environment, which is an interactive online platform, again, for our academic professionals, students, adult learners, and clinical educators. It's a personalized learning experience that contains both courses and webinars. It really helps you extend your knowledge base and skill set in a self-paced format. And going back to me sharing about some of you may be working while you're going to school, we know that you're short on time. The VLE, as we affectionately call it, is available 24/7 as long as you're connected to the internet. So again, it's this online interactive learning platform containing resources, archived webinar events, as well as courses. So you can integrate the courses that we offer into your classroom curricula if you need it. You receive certificates of completion when you pass courses with a 70% or higher. And then you can also earn continuing education credit if you are a CA or a CP HIMSS credential holder. It does require a $65 a year subscription fee. And then if you want to opt into a course, that price point may go up to $279 for our full courses. We will be offering a short course on pharmacy informatics into 2023, and that will start at $149. Now I just want to talk to you about a couple of different resources that Tiger has created that you can tap into immediately on HIMSS.org. We put together a health informatics guide, which really aims to acquaint those who are learning about health informatics with a direct conduit on where to locate and how to best leverage competency-based tools and resources from around the world. And this was published in 2020, but it's still very relevant. You can see the landing page link at the bottom of the slide. We also began defining the different global informatics definitions 4 iterations ago. we published the 4th version of the HIMSS Tiger Global Informatics Definitions document in July of 2020. The Tiger International Task Force will be working on a 5th edition that we hope to release in summer of 2023, but I would encourage you guys to download this document because it really shows you in a simplified way all of the different flavors of informatics and how they come together and interact with one another. And this is really important to help you define, core health informatics terminology, as we also seek to include global terminology needs within the health informatics field, Okay, and then that translated into an article in Nursing Management magazine called Responding to the Need to Curate Global Informatics Definitions, and that was published in January of 2021. I want to read this quote because I feel like it's so important. So definitions, such as the one that are included in the definitions document, are critical for illuminating the different health professions and their specialties, especially when it comes to how they relate to global health informatics. So if you're thinking about making a career transition, this may be a really helpful and inspiring publication for you to immerse yourself in. And Tiger's also been really hard at work over the last several years, publishing chapters in various textbooks. So I won't read all of these, but these are the newest Tiger chapters and some really popular books that have been released and are preparing to be released by the end of this year. Tiger, over the last 3 years, has really been hard at work on a global textbook called Nursing Informatics, a Health Informatics Interprofessional and Global Perspective. I had the honor of serving as an editor under the renowned Dr. Marion J. Ball. This is actually her book series. So this is the 5th edition that was published on July 26th of this year by Springer Nature. And what I love about the 5th version of this esteemed textbook is that it really takes on a true textbook format. It includes case studies, quizzes. There are 112 contributing authors from 13 chapters around the world that resulted in 49 incredible powerhouse chapters. Many of these chapters were driven by Tiger Pioneers, which I'm extremely proud of. I do want to call out a chapter that is really, I think, a love letter to Nigeria and your interprofessional health informatics collaboration journey. It is definitely a chapter that is going to share about the most populous African nation, where we're joining you at remotely today, and the structure of its health system, education, service provision, its health indices, along with its journey to the adoption of health information technology. So you can also purchase chapters in lieu of purchasing the entire textbook. I would really encourage you to download the Nigerian chapter as a source of inspiration and to learn so much more, especially if you're in a country that is working to establish a health informatics infrastructure. Okay, I'm going to take a small pause and talk now about the importance of pursuing mentorship, internship, and scholarship opportunities whenever applicable or desired. I really empower you to think about these opportunities through your global network, again, your professional association memberships, through your employer or academic institution. I don't know who said this quote, who this quote belongs to, but it's definitely one of my favorites, and it's so very true. Behind every great leader, at the base of every great tale of success, you will find an indispensable circle of trusted advisors, mentors, and colleagues. I know I've been blessed, especially through the Global Tiger Network, to really know how truly accurate that quote is. And then I also want to empower you to grow through what you go through. Again, when you join a professional society such as HIMSS, you're going to be able to connect and learn. You're going to experience peer-to-peer networking and more. But I think it's all fair to say that we come to opting into professional societies at different points, or, when different needs pop up throughout our career. So a couple of facts: throughout your career, you're going to be faced with struggles, challenges, obstacles, and adversity, as well as disappointment. My advice is to not let those setbacks and that disappointment hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself professionally by pursuing your dreams and career ambitions. So again, find or become a mentor. Tap into the knowledge of those with more experience, or vice versa, share your knowledge to help prepare the next generation of the workforce. And while you're doing so, you're going to be able to both grow your network and hone in on what your professional brand is. And the best advice I have to give you guys today is self-care is really the best care. You need to put your health and well-being above all others. By caring for yourself, that is how you're going to be empowered to care for others. So remember this: when you hit challenges, we all go through this, and cultivating that global network, having a mentor, becoming a mentor will help offset some of those growing pains. I also want to share that HIMSS does have a foundation that provides both educational and professional opportunities, again, to help prepare the next generation of health information and technology leaders for the digital health workforce. So there are so many resources available through the HIMSS Foundation. There are various types of scholarships. There is a CA HIMSS grant that the foundation has recently established. They partnered with the HIMSS Global Health Equity Network to offer grants to help prepare underrepresented professionals and students in attaining their Certified Associate in Healthcare Information and Management Systems, that CAHIM certification. I know that they'll be providing an open call to apply for this before the end of 2022. So opt into the HIMSS listserv to obtain this information directly in your email inbox. And then internships. We are committed to providing hands-on experiences both for graduate, undergraduate, as well as PhD level students to help broaden proficiency in policy development, informatics, association management, again, to advance careers in the future of the digital health ecosystem. So visit this landing page link below. You're going to find out so much more information about all three of the opportunities available through the foundation. I want to personally share that 4 years ago, Tiger established a Scholars Informatics internship program known as TSIP. And the catalyst for launching this program really was to contribute to Tiger's enduring legacy, again, while preparing the future healthcare workforce. So every year we welcome 2 interns. We really try to choose 1 domestic US student and 1 international student who are seeking a healthcare master's degree or doctorate. And so they're enrolled in a master's or a doctorate program. And they stay with us for 1 full academic year. With the goal of helping them grow their health informatics skill set and knowledge base as they prepare to graduate and seek career opportunities. So this program, I know I'm biased, I really love it because it does provide a lot of mentorship opportunities for myself and through the Global Tiger Volunteer Network. Most years, the students do have an opportunity to serve as a program assistant at our Global Healthcare Conference. They receive student membership for HIMSS. They receive complimentary access to Tiger VLE and the courses that we provide. And the most wonderful thing is that it's remote participation only. So you can become a part of this internship regardless of where you're located. And we do pay a stipend per semester. So if you're interested, again, there's a landing page link below where you can find so much more information. And we typically open the call to apply for the program in spring of every year, and then it closes in the summer. So look forward to this application period opening next May of 2023. And that is all we have prepared for you today. I want to thank you so much for coming and joining our session. We really hope that we've inspired you today to join a professional network or get more involved in the global network that you've already cultivated if you haven't already. On the screen, you're going to see various ways to connect with us. We want to encourage you to connect with us through social media. You can send us an email and follow up if you have any questions or if you'd like to get involved with HIMSS Tiger. Greer, do you have any closing comments before we say goodbye?
Victoria, I am inspired as always. We call you Wonder Woman in the HIMSS community, so you've pulled it out of left field yet again. I just want everybody the very best of luck and just to follow their dreams and take care of each other. Thank you.
Enjoy the conference. Bye.
Satora and Dr. Greer for that. I mean, how many of us enjoyed that particular session? It was really informative, really informative. And we're giving nuggets that would also help us as individuals. The first one I grabbed was grow where you were planted. Some of us are waiting. So, for the benefit of those that are in diaspora, that are not Nigerians, you're beginning to get familiar with this particular phrase. What phrase is that? The jackpot phrase. So some of us are waiting to jackpot before we start making impact. And whenever I have the opportunity to talk to either nurses or any community, I tell them that a lizard in Nigeria will not automatically become a crocodile in another country. If you take the same mentality out there, you begin from here. So she's telling us to start to grow from where we are planted. And there are so many things that we also face here that it's kind of discouraging us and pushing us to want to go out. And what did she say about that? She said, grow through what you are going through. It's important for us to grow through what we are going through. So we have in our midst a lover of nurses, not just a lover of nurses. If it was just general, she wouldn't be here. She would have picked another program because there was another call for her to attend to, but she would rather be here. She is a woman who does not need any form of introduction. If you do not know her, please, after this program, just pay some tithes, pay some offering, drop some money if you don't know her. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished nurses, it is my singular honor and privilege to invite to the lectern to take us on implementing digitalization in care institutions in Nigeria. No other than the Director, Nursing Services in Lagos State, Mrs. Dorcas Shonibare, a lover of the next gen of nurses. Please, a round of applause and just keep till, yes, she comes up. Keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you so much. We are so delighted. We're happy, we're grateful for your support. Always welcome.
Great nurses. Lover of nurses in the house. Sorry I came in late. I apologize. I actually came in from outside Lagos this morning. Passing through the long bridge was a serious challenge. But thank God I'm here. I wasn't here when the protocol was established. But let me acknowledge the CEO of MyCare assistant in person of, where is she? Mrs. Abiola Ayilara. Great nurses in the house. Don't let me start mentioning names, but I want to appreciate also my honorable, I don't know where he has gone to, my honorable, who proves to be an African boy this morning by dobalaying all the way. Please, a round of applause for him. Julie, you're highly appreciated, and all my nurses in the house. Good morning. My presentation. Now, today is, nurses in Lagos, they should not know that I'm here. Why? Because the African boy is here. Thank you very much for being here, my honorable Fawole Israel. I'm a sorrow or a wa. So Lagos State nurses shouldn't know that I'm here because today is the opening ceremony for the State NAM annual conference. And I told them I'm on leave. Truly, I'm on leave. So I expect my deputy to take over that assignment and let me have time for the next generation. So thank you very much for being here this morning, every one of you. So the topic of today says implementing digitalization in care institutions in Nigeria, presented here today at MyCare Assistant Annual Conference by Nurse Dorcas. I am a nurse. I'm proud to be a nurse. You know, when we are all together in the ministry, they call me doctor and I frown. I'm not a medical doctor. I am a nurse. So Nurse Dorcas Olukemi Shonibare, you can see all the remaining ones. This for the next slide. Why is it so slow? I need help. Okay, that's essential. Thank you. Thank you for helping me. You always need the young ones around. All my younger ones are gone, and I'm missing them. They're all married. They are gone. So, yes, this is the outline for today's presentation. An introduction, classification of care, dimensions and outcome of access to care. What is digitalization of care? The way forward, recommendations, conclusion, and references. Now, there are some trends affecting nursing. We wrote question for that last presentation. When is she going to answer us? After. Aha. Trends affecting nursing. So nursing education reform is a global phenomenon. And if we are thinking globally as a profession in Nigeria, then we must be talking about reformation of our nursing programs. And I want to say that we're not that too backwards. Yeah. Because the first computer-based test for qualifying examination took place this year. A round of applause for Nursing Council now. We're not too bad. Yes, at least with what happened this year for the qualifying examination, whereby there was no examiner in various centers, only in a computer-based center, and you are just there alone with your computer, including those that you called the oldies, post-basic nursing programs. All of them were only with their laptop, and they were able to sit for the qualifying examination. It's a step towards digitalization. So in the 109th Congress, House Education and Workforce Committee in the US, in December 2005, is a long time, made a position statement captioned Innovation in Nursing Education, a call to reform. Now, in 2010, another committee identified 4 key areas that will support a transformed nursing profession to provide high quality, accessible patient care. So what are these 4 key areas? Number 1, that nurses should be able to practice to the fullest extent of the skills and knowledge acquired. It's like nurses go to school, but the moment they are back to work, they only work with the limited opportunity given to them in their places of work. Where nurses will tell you, we are not permitted to do it. Who says? And I ask the leaders, who says you cannot practice it? And they'll tell me it's hospital policy. Can I have a copy of the hospital policy? It is not written anywhere. My nurses were just told verbally, and they took to it. It's terrible. So nothing is stopping us from practicing to the fullest extent of the skills and knowledge acquired. Nurses should achieve higher levels of education and training through an improved education system that promotes seamless academic progression. It is on already. The chairman of the Civil Service Commission in Lagos State was arguing with me that, no, don't tell me that nursing education had been in the university as far back as 1965. I said, yes, I'm a product of that program. And I happen to be one of the last set of BSc nursing in University of Ibadan. That program was rounded up in 2001. It started in 1965. And the first set of that set graduated in 1968. It was a 3-year program. So what has been happening to us since 1965 that nursing is still crawling up to now? We'll get to know. Nursing should be full partners with physicians and other healthcare professionals in redesigning a reformed healthcare system. We'll surely get there. But then, I don't have any problem with physicians, O&G doctors. Just name the list. I don't have any problem with them because they are only doing their own work, isn't it? So it's not left for me and my people to ensure that we also go about doing our own job as well. But now, effective workforce planning and policy making require better data collection and improved information infrastructure. I'm happy you have heard about Nursing Informatics already this morning. Okay, that is one of the platforms for us to think of having quality data, collection of quality data. If I tell you that for me to have enough quality data about nurses in Lagos State is a serious challenge to me. And I keep asking our association, well, you should have the list of your nurses, isn't it? They collect our dues regularly. So how come they don't have data of nurses in Nigeria and in Lagos State? Now, I had to look for a way out. So I have data about nurses in the public, all public institutions in Lagos, but ask me about the private nurses. That has been my challenge in the last 6 years, and I've not been able to find solution to it. But I'm still working on it. I will not give up. Clinical facilities should be inspected, accredited, and cost of upgrading determined, and whose responsibility cost can be shared. Support solicited through donor agencies, state philanthropies, etc. I'm sure we have not been able to utilize this opportunity of getting people that can support us, donors and the likes, philanthropists. But I want to tell you, NAM is good at it. Yes, NAM has many sponsors supporting their programs. I'm not anti-NAM, but they know that I will always attack them anywhere because we look forward so much to what NAM should be able to do for their members. But now we always tell you it's nursing council. And so nurses get confused as to who should be held responsible. Yeah. Difficulties in communication and patient education. Those measures can weigh many nurses down. Many nurses are really in this position. And I keep telling nursing leaders, it's not every nurse that wants to jackpot. But when I'm trying to put in my very best, I'm trying to satisfy my patient. And little things that should be available is not available. And I'm still trying to cope. But now it comes to the level that, interpersonal, mafoju eri, emi loga e, things that does not matter at all now are becoming issue. And I begin to think, I think it's time for me to also jackpot along with them. Yes. It's not everyone that wants to go into the cold. Nigeria is blessed with everything. But we are not talking about Nigeria today. So I don't know how many of us are in this position. Now, classification of care. Because anything about nursing, we should not just think about ourselves, we should think about our patients. And when we are talking about digitalization of nursing care, we must be able to start from somewhere. So there should be continuity of care via case management. I don't know how many of our institutions has opportunity to review nursing care of their patients, such as coordination of assessment. Have we done adequate assessment of this patient? The treatment, is he or she improving? And arrangement for or of referral system. Formal integration of services, bringing together services across sectors or teams, or services at one time. If there's anything the common man in Nigeria is tired of in our health facilities, is the fact that I have a woman who she accepted with me that she needs hospital care. But all her children are not around. Who's going to follow her to the hospital? When she gets to the hospital, you need to go and make payments over there, obtain prescription over there. The laboratory is on that side. Why can't we bring these things together and make life easier for our people? And I think that is part of what digitalization is going to, try and solve for us. So continuity of care via arrangement for follow-up. So classification of care. Now we have clinical multidisciplinary team creation of a team with professionals from multiple disciplines, or we create a new team. If you actually want to care for a patient, we must be able to have a multidisciplinary team. I don't know when the health sector in Nigeria will get to that level, but I know of two groups. If you start mentioning the different specialties, I know that the basic nursing programs that Nursing Council has carved out, they are over 20. Okay? So you can now think of having 20 multidisciplinary teams. It will be fantastic. But I know of the anesthetists. They are a group of workers that have this multidisciplinary team. Both the nurses and the doctors, they work together. Now, another group is the O&G. Yeah. The Society of Sogon, Society of General, no, it's not general, Obstetric and Gynae. My classmate is a member of Sogon, and she's a nurse. She has gotten her PhD in nursing. She's a lecturer, and she's a member of Sogon. So that's another team that I respect so much. And until others begin to work closely together, and maybe peradventure, maybe I've not worked in Igbobi before, it's possible that the orthopedic doctors and the nurses are also working very closely. So there's need for us to change the health sector in Nigeria for us to work as a team. Shifting of roles among healthcare professionals or expansion of role to include new tasks. It's a challenge to us that we must be able to really trash out. Institution incentives, financial rewards to the organization or providers for doing specific action. We're not talking about dimensions and outcome of access to care. Reduction of avoidable hospitalization. With digitalization of care, it may not necessarily be that all our patients must be admitted. Because currently, we're even having problems with bed space in our hospitals. And we have tried as a state to put it online. All our hospital facilities. Let us know where bed spaces are. But be like, say, my people no agree. My permanent secretary took it up on himself. Let us put these things online so that by the time I want to transfer a patient from General Hospital to Lagos, let me just look online and see which hospital that has this specialty has vacant bed for this patient. And as a nurse too, and I thought of it, I created WhatsApp group so that we can make referral system easier for our people. They are the ones we are serving, for goodness sake. We are not doing them any favor. We call ourselves professionals. So we are the ones to make things easier for them to access care. But it's not so in Nigeria. It's not so. And so we are losing our people to quacks on a daily basis. So, reduction of avoidable hospitalization, emergency department admission, unmet healthcare needs. Unmet healthcare needs. Have we been able to identify some of them? Are we thinking about it? I know that it's possible that my care assistant is possibly thinking about it. The 5 key dimensions of access to healthcare, I just listed them here. Number 1 is approach. What type of approach do we have? Are we approachable? Availability, affordability, acceptability, and appropriateness. The 5 key dimensions of access that I just listed, it's a thing you can just go through later on. Approachability, existence of reachable services. Many people don't even know there's a health center around their house. They don't even know there's a general hospital in their local government. Why? Because they have never tried to look around. And you know, we health workers, we always stay in the facility. Hardly do we go into the community and say our service is available. But we believe they will always come to us. Abi, they will always come to us. So we don't need to advertise. And you know, ogota. Availability, getting services in time. I hate hearing, come back tomorrow. What for? What is it that cannot be done today? Do you know that some of these patients, even the money for transportation to the hospital, it's a difficult task for them. And then they get to you, you are not rendering the service, you are not asking her to come back again tomorrow. She won't come back. She will not. Affordability, financial capacity necessary to use services. And I think that's why Lagos State, you're timing me. Okay now. No problem. Now, don't let me go through this again. It's something you can understand, isn't it? Now, what is digitization? I found out that there's a difference between digitalization and digitization. Now, this is digitization. And we're saying that digitization is a process. Okay? It's a process of converting information into a digital format. Okay? Now, how do we get this done? By the time you use your phone to scan a letter, okay, you know you can convert that letter, a hard copy, to soft copy. Okay, that is part of what we mean by digitization, in which you are converting that hard copy to a soft copy for the computer to process for you. Okay, now what's the purpose? The purpose is to enable automation. It will increase data quality, collection and structure of data for application of advanced technology. That is the purpose of digitization. Now, digitization in nursing care. Digital technology used to support the profession, as of today, I don't have to be talking about US or UK or Canada. As of today, I know of Federal Medical Center in Ebute Metta, here in Lagos. I had to call some of the nurses, just tell me which aspects have you digitalized as nurses in your hospital. I don't want to say it. Now, hospital information system, electronic health records, monitoring systems, decision support, telenursing, e-learning, virtual realities, and network challenges. These are the basic things that we have been able to digitalize as nurses here in our public hospitals. I know that there are many private hospitals in Lagos that are fully digitalized. I'm aware of that. But because of time, I couldn't reach out to them. Okay. All right. So now, what are some of the things impacting the health of our people that we need to think about digitalizing the service we render to them? This is one of them. It's a serious challenge. Some major climatic events cause disease outbreaks in the areas that have not experienced the okay? Everybody in Nigeria wants to build a house. And so we are intruding into the ecology of the animals. And it's exposing us, increases the exposure of human to new infectious agents. Usually tropical and developing countries are hotspots of outbreak of diseases. This is the major one. Technical training to use data management software and troubleshooting telemedicine-related issues. Deployment of telemedicine services and products will improve interprofessional health communication working as a team. If there's anything I can remember from FMC, which I need to mention, is the fact that nurses can change reports at any time. So you know we are still using biro and paper to write reports. But with digitalization, you cannot just change your report anyhow. The one you have submitted is gone. You can't change it. Okay? It's fantastic. And that will make us to think twice before we document anything. So actually, digitization has improved documentation in FMC. And I know General Hospital Lagos also has commenced digitization of their document. I don't know of any other hospital for now. Island Maternity. Thank you for that information. Okay, so the way forward, the advent of COVID-19 pandemic boosted the following: growing presence of artificial intelligence and robotic system. Yes, what is artificial intelligence? Is to make information available for an inanimate object to act. So that intelligence is artificial, but the robot will bring it to bear. I want to thank God that the robot is there, but there's still one thing that the robot cannot do, which only nurses can do. What is it? The soft touch. The hand of the robot is too hard, but a nurse can give a soft touch to a patient, which is highly therapeutic. Thank you. If not, robot will have sent some nurses out of job. Society relies on mobile, internet, and social media, increasing dependence on telehealth and other virtual models of care, including universal health coverage. So Lagos State is trying to ensure that we have universal health coverage in form of our health management insurance, okay? So that it's not everybody that will now be coming to the hospital. We can do some telemedicine, telenursing online to reach out to our client. Nurses must master the digital skills to conduct remote medical consultation, health monitoring. And my recommendation to the public, because I didn't know the audience that I will have. So So recommendation to the public, a mindset is a habitual way of interpreting and responding to situations. So we should make a shift from our mindset. Some people just believe all Nigerians are thieves. It's a mindset. I have decided, even as a public officer, not to be a thief. Yes. So don't assume that all nurses are non-entities. Who says? It's a mindset. So let there be a shift. Stop patronage of quacks. I don't think I need to go through this because they are not here. Recommendation to professionals now. Initiate and design new health programs and policies. A lot of our people need public awareness about diseases. Ask yourself, what does it entail to do telenursing? You can reach out to people in your community and be able to assist them. Okay? Attend relevant public health meetings, seminars, conferences, e-learning to build your capacity and self-development. Liaising with National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives and the Ministry of Health on availability of digital equipment for healthcare services. Participate in the formulation of laws guiding nursing training and practice in Lagos State. How can you participate? You can just sit down and put up a write-up and send it to the DNS. Okay? What is my email? Directorate of Nursing, alausa@gmail.com. I will receive it. You are participating in formulation of laws to improve nursing practice. Take responsibility for self and general planning for nursing development. Recommendation to non-governmental organizations that may be here. Please, we need to create more awareness about services on social media and be open-minded to feedbacks. In Nigeria, we don't like feedback. Critique is necessary, it is important. It is when somebody criticize and critique, they are not the same thing. We're not asking for you to criticize, but to critique. When you critique, you are looking at a situation and you want to bring out something that can be done in a better manner. Okay, so let us be open-minded to feedback. Develop a good understanding of the protocols and procedures of the system in which you're operating as a staff and add value to that organization. Don't just think you are there to obtain salary. Please, you can add value to that organization. Relating with appropriate authorities of primary health care in your vicinity. That is the global way. Private institutions should partner with public health facilities in the preparation of standard procedure for health institutions in caring for Lagosians. Lagosians are precious to us in this state, and we want both the private and public to synergize and take good care of Lagosians. Give support for mentoring, supportive supervision, and monitoring of standard where possible. Recommendation for MyCare assistants. Set up a technical working groups to provide solutions to basic nursing issues of interest, e.g., home care practices. I know of many people that are in this line of home care. We can all come together. We can all come together so that we can discuss issues of nursing because, well, let me continue. Engage with our nurses and train them on how to establish an outfit. That's an area you can go into so that nurses will not retire and be selling, don't let me mention some things. So develop and review your annual, monthly, and weekly operational plans, okay, for effective appraisal of your activities. The need of the hour is effective mitigation of the brain drain to greener pastures. Add value to the system. And I want to thank you that I listened to that first presentation. It's adding value to us. So that some people can think twice. I said that you need to grow where you are planted. And then when you go out, you can also come back. Nigeria is going to change. My children, I've tried to convince them. They cannot be convinced. They say, you can wait here with your husband. Identify budget and partner with international partners for digital working tools. I know of Health PTC, London Professional Training Center in Ikeja. They can partner with you for something like this. Collaborate with directors of nursing to strengthen the health sector, first in Lagos State and in Nigeria. Conclusion. The reward for hard work is what? Is more work. So let's be innovative, okay? Creative. Let's think out of the box to meet needs in our communities. MyCare Assistant can partner with Association of General Private Nursing Practitioners to make impact to them, okay? A large untapped area of nursing services, family planning, immunization, community mobilization, and sensitization, etc., is being taken over by non-nurses. Keep doing the good work and don't give up on your dreams. Thank you for your attention.
Please, let's keep clapping. A round of applause. Thank you so much, Mrs. Dorcas Shonibari, always delivering. We deeply appreciate that. So I know that a number of us have questions. If you notice, there was a paper kept on our tables. Kindly pen down your questions. Questions are going to be sent to all speakers. If you have your questions ready, now is that moment to ask. We have two more items on our agenda. We have a nurse present in our midst to do a presentation. Then after that, we would have Nurse Ailara also come up for her own part before we go. So those are the two items we have left. So right about now, I am going to call on a nurse. I'll be meeting her, I think, for the first time. She has a presentation. She's a nurse and data analyst, if I'm correct, and her name is Chisom Mbama. Please, a round of applause as we welcome Chisom Mbama for her own presentation. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this like we really appreciate her.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Okay, without wasting much time, my name is Chisom Mbama. I'm a nurse and a data analyst. Hi, I see my students here. Okay, so I know that representation is very important. When you see people who look like you in the things that we have learned about, it kind of like gives you the idea to know that this can be done. So all I'm just going to do in the next 5 minutes is just give representation to a lot of things that have been said here, just share my story very quickly and pick out some pointers that can help us, right? I know that having heard everything that we have heard for, by the way, I want to say it's such an honor to do this, to share a stage with a lot of people that I admire in the health and the digital informatics space. So thank you very much, Mrs. A. So I know that looking through everything that has been said and hearing people doing great things, one thing that will be on most people's mind is just wanting to actually get into this. How can I do it? How can I be this? How can I get into the nursing informatics space? How can I be a data analyst also? How can I infuse this into what I'm currently doing? Okay. So I'm just going to share certain points and also share my journey. So I currently work for a company based in the USA. It's called Brooklyn Data Company. I work as a data analyst, and I actually studied nursing in the University of Lagos. So I'm a registered nurse, a registered midwife, but I currently work as a data analyst in a data company based in the US. And I also still train for MyCare assistants. I train upcoming caregivers. Thank you. Thank you so much. And right about after this conference, I'm going to head to Keystone Bank, where I'm going to also train their staff on something on the data space, on a particular tool in data analytics. I've been doing the training for a while, and it continues today. So this is possibility. So how did this happen? So first off, I studied nursing in the University of Lagos. I graduated in 2019. Okay, I graduated in 2019. So who is a nurse here? If you're a nurse, can I see your hand? Okay, we have a lot of nurses here, right? Yes, wow. So you know how we do these projects, research projects in our final year, or before you write your nursing council, yeah? And during that your research project, you have to actually do a project, yeah? So how did you analyze your data when you did your project? Anybody? Questionnaires, right? After you got the questionnaire, how did you like get the findings? Somebody helped you, yeah? You had a data analyst did it for you. For it, I mean, for some people learned it by themselves. Okay, amazing. Okay, so that's where I started. During like my nursing finals, my hospital finals, when I wanted to do my research project, instead of having somebody do it for me, I met the person who was doing it and I said I wanted to learn this thing and do it by myself. So that's the first point. You have to be inquisitive and be willing to learn, right? If you witness something and you see somebody doing it, can you do it? What's going on here? Don't just pay people to do technical things for you if you can actually learn to do it, okay? Okay, so I started from that. I learned to do it by myself, and then I went ahead to kind of like do data analysis in school for a lot of other people, even beyond nursing department. And it started from, oh, instead of having somebody do this for me, can I learn it by myself? Okay, so that was the first thing. Now, secondly, the second point I want to say is learning is a lifelong journey, as one of our speakers mentioned. It doesn't end where it is, right? And don't limit yourself to the resources around you. Look around you. Like if you go on social media and see a lot of things happening, what is happening here and how can I become a part of it? Okay, so I started from data analysis in school, just research data, I think using just SPSS and Excel, right? And then shortly after that, Lagos State was organizing what we call Code Lagos, where they were kind of like, if you're interested in learning any programming language, you just come. It was free back then. And so we have 1,001 of these resources around, mostly for females, to be very honest, mostly for females and some for males. So if you see these opportunities, don't just say, oh, I'm a nurse, I will not go. Please go ahead and do it, okay? So I attended one of these programs and I learned Python in that program. It was for a couple of months. I just went from school, attended the program, and I learned Python. Okay, so the second point after being inquisitive is that you must go after knowledge, go after opportunities around you. Don't feel like, I'm not like caught out for this. Okay, so that was the second thing. Then thirdly, the importance of a community cannot be overemphasized. Having people around you who are working towards the same goal. So at Code Lagos, I met a group of people who were not nurses. They were like just normal programmers, and they were doing all these things. And I remember telling them that I'm a nurse, so I'm just here, Sha. Let me just learn something and keep it going. And I remember one of them telling me back then that this is a very important skill that I should keep it on. And there's a rave about transitioning into tech now. It wasn't a thing back then, but it was just that. So I had that community of people, and because I made good friends and I was part of that community, I consistently, continued learning. Right. So first thing, be inquisitive. Second thing, look for opportunities around you. Third thing is what? Join a community. For example, we have the NDT community by MyCare Assistant. It's a very good resource where you can see like-minded nurses who are doing beyond nursing in their own space. Okay. So that was the third thing. So I had that community of people. And another thing that your community will do for you is that it will bring opportunities your way. Right. So the first opportunity I had was we had this company which is called Bumper now, but back then it was TechQuest. So they were creating tech tutorial videos for undeserved communities, and they needed like a female who could do some programming to help them, create that content. And somebody I had met at Code Lagos had sent the application to me like, hey, so you see the importance of community, yeah? Opportunities will come your way because you're part of a group of people, and so they think about you first. When opportunities come. And so he had sent it to me and I went for it. I could easily have said, I don't want to do this thing. I'm just a nurse now. I just attended one thing, but I was like, why not? That's another thing. So the fourth thing is that you have to be confident. I've seen people who can actually do a lot of things, look at themselves and feel like, I can't do this, right? If you don't try, you won't know if you can do it. At least try now. If I go for the interview, I did not pick me, at least I went, right? Okay, so that's one thing. Put yourself out there. There are 1,001 opportunities for us. Okay, so I went for that particular interview and I got in for that. So that was like my first experience in the tech space. And after that, it was a lot of opportunities after that, I worked with Eco Innovation Center. I did an internship with them. I worked with Utiva. Everybody knows Utiva, yeah? Do you know Utiva? I worked with Utiva. I worked with the European Union on a particular project, and I will just quickly talk about how I got this European Union opportunity. So in talking about going for opportunities, don't see an opportunity and feel like you don't qualify. At least try. The worst thing is that they will reject you, Abby, but you must try. And so they were looking for somebody who had a PhD in research. I mean, I had just RN and RM, but if I send the application, at least they'll just see it, Abby, and send me rejection mail. Okay, so they needed somebody who had like a PhD in research, to do some things, and the person in charge had put it on Instagram or Twitter, I can't remember. And I entered the person's DM. I'm like, hi, my name is Chisom. I'm a nurse. I studied this and this. I have some experience with data and this thing and blah, blah, blah. I was like, we need somebody who actually who has a PhD in research, but okay, it's fine. And that it ended there, I was like, okay, so I don't have a PhD, but thank you for listening to me. And a couple of weeks later, he sends me a message that, are you still available for this opportunity? We found somebody who had a PhD in research, but we still need an extra hand, and I think you'll be a good fit. And that was it. Okay, so go for opportunities. So the point I want to make here is when you see opportunities, I have a friend who will always tell me that when you see, for example, job applications are like wish lists. They don't expect you to have everything, just have like some, and all. So that was how I got that opportunity, and I currently talking about representation, going back to representation, having gotten that opportunity and working with a lot of people, I saw a lot of young Nigerians in different aspects who were doing a lot of things out of Nigeria, And so when I finished my youth service this year in February, this year, it was time to go into the labor market or the favor market, as we like to call it, right? And because I had seen opportunities around me, I had seen people around me who were doing great things, I did not apply to work in a company here. I decided to look for companies outside of Nigeria, companies in the US and whatnot. And I don't want to go through the process of interviewing and whatnot, but I was able to get this opportunity. I've been at my current company I started in March, so this should be like my 9th or 10th month working there, and it's been a very good journey so far. And I got there and I found out that I'm not the only one. I saw somebody who studied law who is working there as a data person. I saw somebody who even studied something health related, actually working there, So your skills will speak for you. So in summary, all I want to say is look for opportunities around you, be inquisitive. Don't just end somewhere I've gotten RN and RM, right? Let me just jump and go. You need your skills. In fact, let me tell you something interesting. So I train for UTIVA, meaning that I train people who are coming into the data space, right? And so I train on a particular skill called SQL. And there's this thing I like to do in my class. I'll be like, hi, okay, so introduce yourself. Tell me where you're joining from. And I had this lady who was a Nigerian nurse in the UK, who was trying to move into tech, and she was taking this UTIVA course. And it was so inspiring and so beautiful to see. So irrespective of where you are, just know that the world is evolving. Traditional things are going out, and what is happening is tech. This is the season of tech and digital things. So number one, be inquisitive, right? Number two, look for opportunities around you. I can't remember the name, but one of the presenters who presented, I think, on HIMSS talked about a lot of opportunities for learning, joining communities, doing an internship, getting a scholarship. Don't just live here, check it out, push an application. The worst thing that will happen is that you get a rejection mail, but you shall apply it, right? Okay, so look for opportunities around you and put yourself out there. And remember that the sky is not the limit, it's the starting point. Thank you very much.
Amazing and very inspiring. I know some people will be saying that she doesn't have two heads, and that's the truth. She doesn't have two heads, just one head. And if she can do it, we also can. And please do not say, oh, okay, she's young and that's why she's favored. No, it's never too late. Mrs. Dorcas Shonibari has not stopped learning. And do not say no. Do not say no to yourself so you can keep growing. There's no end to it. So right about this time, we are coming to the end of this event. A round of applause to every speaker who has mounted the stage and shared their knowledge. And while you're still clapping, increase the sound of the clap as we welcome the CEO, MyCare Assistant, Nurse Abiola Aguilera, for her closing remark and award.
Thank you very much. Is this working? I think it is, yeah. So once again, standing on the existing protocol, I want to say a very big thank you to everybody here. I mean, it's been a wonderful, educative, enlightening, insightful 4 hours, and I'm so grateful for your attention, your commitment, for being here. To our speakers from all over the world, we have Professor Paula Proctor, Mrs. Dorcas Shonibare, Honorable Fawale, our doctor in Hong Kong, that is Damilare, and then we also have Toria, Greer. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody, and I'm going to let you all know that I am a product of everybody that has been on stage, one way or the other. So for Professor Paula Proctor, she just took interest in me when I got a scholarship to study healthcare analytics and artificial intelligence at Sheffield Hallam University. And she said, Biola, you have an inquiry spirit. You are very curious about stuff and you're going to go places. And for all the opportunities I found myself enjoy on a global stage, it has been Professor Paula saying, there is a girl that I think can do well, and this is her name, bring her on board. And she has really believed in this dream, this vision. If anyone had told me that we will be having this conference, I would have said, no, not in this lifetime. But I'm grateful to God for that. For my ever former principal, Mrs. Dorcas Shonibare, she's been a very pillar of support way back over 12 years ago. The words of conviction, the words that I say, nothing is not just about having your registered nurse certificate. You can be much more. You can go further. And this vision, this dream has been with me up until now. I've been product of scholarship. I've been product of favors, and then, I mean, name it. Chisom is here. I met Chisom through UTIV, and I'm like, gosh, she's a nurse and she's doing this. And I took interest in her, and I said, you know what? I love you. I'm going to go places. And she's been doing amazing. She's a facilitator and MyCare assistant. And most of my students that are here know her, so they're always like, gosh, we love Chisom. We love her so much. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you. I want to thank my husband again. I mean, he's not here, but he's an encourager, an enabler, who even provided an enabling environment. So please help me thank him. Thank him for me. Thank you so much. Then I will mention somebody. We have, she does not want me to mention her name, but I will mention her name. She's sitting quietly. She doesn't want anybody to know her, but I'm going to mention her name. And her name is Pretty Miss Farmer, Mrs. Thank you so much for your support. She's one of our advisors and MyCare assistant. She's been very supportive, very intentional, saying, Bella, we're going to go to this person, we're going to go there. This is how you should do it. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I truly appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And so from now, we'll be moving to the second session. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to stay if you want to, but this is the end of the Nursing Transformation 2.0 2022. Thank you very much. Thank you to Julie flew in from Abuja to come and moderate for us. Thank you so much. Yeah.
It is always a pleasure to stand here. And for those who have interest in hosting or emceeing, as they call it, you actually can. It's possible. I usually tell people that I speak for a living, and this is just an aspect of it. So if you want to grace stages, you can. It's very possible. Just be bold. And like Chisom said, don't be afraid. Be confident. Tell yourself that you can. So now at about this time, we talked about networking. We talked about mentoring, about coaching. You have the opportunity to walk up to one person or the other and then network. Please don't just say hello, hi. Get more information. So what do you do? Ask. Let me tell us, because sometimes we do not know. Ask the person, what do you do? How did you get there? Interest in the person. Don't just go blabbing about yourself first. So show more interest in the person and then get more information about that person, possibly get details on how you can connect. And please do not call the person at midnight except it's an emergency and that's the only expert that can attend to you. Please, let's respect people's private spaces. Do not send messages after working hours except they tell you it's okay to do so. So now we'll be taking pictures. So let's have all of our speakers present in the house first, and the founder. Can we have Nosa Biola Yilara come up as well? We are going to have photographs, like.
What if you could learn healthcare with freedom, a sense of belonging, and valued certification? The MyCare Assistant Learning Management System puts your healthcare career in your hands. Learn healthcare and get certified anywhere you are and anyhow you want. MyCare Assistant. Your care, our priority.